Hello, everybody. This is Matt Jablonski from Death by Cheeseburger. I just want to let you know we decided to do things a little bit differently this week. So before the podcast starts, there's going to be a song that plays. It's a song that we like. Then, at the end of the podcast, there will be another song that plays. It's another song that we like. If you don't like the song, you can skip ahead. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye.
Century of lonely nights, waiting for someone to release me. You're licking your lips and blowing kisses my way, but that don't mean I'm gonna give it away, baby, baby, baby.
My body say let's go, but my heart say no. If you wanna be with me, baby, there's a price to pay. I'm a genie in a bottle. You gotta love me the right way. If you wanna be with me, I can make your wish come true. You gotta make a big impression. Gotta like what you do. I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. Gotta love me the right way, honey. I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. Come, come, let me out. The music's fading and the lights down low. Just one more dance and then we're good to go. Waiting for someone to release me.
Almost racing at the speed of light, but that don't mean it's gonna be tonight, baby, baby, baby.
My body say let's go, but my heart say no. If you wanna be with me, baby, there's a price to pay. I'm a genie in a bottle. You gotta love me the right way. If you wanna be with me, I can make your wish come true. You gotta make a big impression. Gotta like what you do. I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. Gotta love me the right way, honey. I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. Come, come, come on and let me out. I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. Gotta rub me the right way, honey. I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. Come, come, come on and let me out.
I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. Gotta rub me the right way on it. I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. Come, come, come and let me out.
If you wanna be with me, baby, there's a price to pay. I'm a genie in a bottle. You gotta love me the right way. If you wanna be with me, I can make your wish come true. You gotta make a big impression. Gotta like what you do. I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. Gotta love me the right way, honey. I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. Come, come, come on and let me out. I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. Gotta rub me the right way, honey. I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. Come, come.
Let me out.
All right. Welcome, everybody, once again to Death by Cheeseburger. I am one half of your retarded hosts, Matt Jablonski.
And I am Benjamin Terhune. And we thank you once again for tuning in, or if this is your first time, we thank you for having poor enough judgment that you've allowed to put yourself through this experience.
Yeah, those words. So something's not recording. Shit.
Redo.
Oh, no, actually, I'm wrong. I just didn't have all of my wavelengths up here.
This is what happens when you smoke before the podcast.
Yeah, I don't know what that means, but it's like a foreign language to me. So last week we dropped our first episode, and we shared it to the individuals we know that we connect with on our social media. Those individuals, about like 70 or so of those, were kind enough to check it out. I don't know if it's like bad karma or whatever to say the exact number, but I don't know. To you 70 cool motherfuckers, I send you my heartfelt thanks. As a result of this last week, the most mind-blowing thing I've ever seen is a brand name that I came up with has been made into a fucking T-shirt.
Now, I have this friend. We'll call him Jesse Anderson of Ruthless Inc.
We'll call him that.
That's what we'll call him. His actual name, and we'll say his
AKA.
occupation. And I met him in a social media forum a while ago. It was just basically a roast forum. I had no business being in there. Neither did anybody else, but we still congregated. And Jesse is just kind of like this overly educated, enigmatic person who kind of lives halfway off the grid. And in his spare time, whenever he likes something that I do or that anybody does, he's just kind of like, hey, I'm going to print you up a T-shirt. And that's just kind of like his reward system for most of society that doesn't suck in his view while he's busy feeding his chickens and whatnot, is to go ahead and hook you up with a T-shirt. So now, within 5 to 7 days, we have T-shirts coming with the brand Death by Cheeseburger on them.
I saw that he had several different things he had put up there.
Yeah.
And as crazy as I think it is in general that they even exist, my favorite one is the full logo across the front.
Yeah.
I'll have to, he added me on Facebook, so I might send him a message and ask about it, but I don't know if there's a way to make that the first option or something, but I hope that there is, because that thing looks cool. And it's the kind of thing where, like, even if you don't know that we have a podcast titled Death by Cheeseburger,
You'd still wear it.
it half-assed looks like we're just ripping on Burger King. Like it's just a parody T-shirt.
Right, yeah.
And so like you'll see it, you might think Burger King, and then you'll read it and it says Death by Cheeseburger. And to me, when I look at it, it's just funny as shit.
Right.
As a fat guy, like, I would totally grab that T-shirt.
That was I talked to my girlfriend about this, and she was like, if they ever make a ladies line of shirts, she's like, I totally want one of those shirts. And I was just kind of like, why? It just basically has a cheeseburger on it and alludes to us talking. And she's like, I don't even want it for the simple fact that you're on the podcast. And at first I was a little taken aback, and I was like, ouch. And then she's like, no, I want it because it's got a cheeseburger on it. And she's like, that's like the best fucking food in my life. She's like, you add some bacon to that. And she's like, that's better than some of the dates and stuff. And I was like, okay, well, apparently the cheeseburger is what's going to do the hard sell for everybody. Like,
Yeah.
We're no longer important. We're no longer
Well,
mattering.
well, I mean, if we're going to be totally honest, we never were important.
Not really.
But I think we both have issues that would push us in the direction of talking into microphones.
I think so.
And, like, I don't even know, like, I don't have any, I don't want to lie to myself. I do have a hope that this kind of catches on.
Yeah.
I've given myself that, like, I've allowed myself to have that as a thing in my mind, because for one, like, when we sat down last week, it wasn't like what I would say is a perfect podcast.
Oh,
like,
not by any stretch.
you know, when you listen to someone who's done 1,000 episodes, they know what the fuck they're doing.
Oh, absolutely.
They're right in that groove, and we're just starting out. And, you know, some of the things we talked about last week is aspiring comedians and things like, which we'll get into that more for sure here in a minute. But it's not that I feel I'm important or everyone should listen to me. It's almost a desperate fucking Hail Mary attempt to try to make my brain churn out something, because I know it's capable of it.
Right.
I have moments where I feel like, God damn, I'm actually pretty funny.
Like life's last audible towards creativity. I
And
got you.
yeah, and I gotta get out of this fucking corporate thing.
Slump.
Like this corporate grind. I can't keep being the company man for the rest of my life. I need to do something. So the podcast was, I listened to so many of them that I was just like, God damn, I know how to like work audio to an extent.
Right.
And I know that anything I don't know, I'm sure I could find on YouTube. So it's like, I got to try something. And this, so far, since I started with the Matt signal, even though I didn't really like the direction that went, it started, ever since I started doing that, I've been on a creative high.
Okay.
That I haven't had in a long time. So, for the 70 people who were nice enough to listen to this, who made me feel good about it.
He's thanking you again.
Thank you, because you've just further driven that positive energy into my life a little bit. So I hope you stick around and roll with us. But I also want to start right off the top, because I have been hesitant to say anything like this, but I guess we need to ask for people's help. Because it's really cool if you listen to it, and it's even better if you listen to it and then talk to us about how you feel about it. But what we need is for anybody who enjoys their time hanging out with us in their heads, letting us be, what's the condition called?
Schizophrenic?
Allowing us to be your temporary schizophrenia.
There we go. What he's saying is, if you could basically share this,
yeah,
go ahead
please
and put the word out.
If you know anybody who might laugh with us, get them on board.
Even if you don't know like-minded people, it's okay. We're probably going to be controversial at more than one point in the span of this podcast and the series of podcasts. So, even more than likely, a good debate is never frowned upon, unless we say something stupid, and then we're both either going to laugh or cry. It doesn't matter.
Probably laugh. But so that's the thing. And then I guess that's going to lead into, like, you were the first of the two of us to start out on the dream.
Well, like, I've been started out on the dream for, like, the last 5 years, kind of. I've never been a corporate policy type of person. And the one time I was, I worked insurance in, like, for a local company here in town that a lot of people have worked for, and they, too, have lost a small piece of themselves after they were either fired or quit that job. And the thing of the matter was, I realized I had a moment in my life where I was married to a woman I didn't want to go home to. Like, I'd put in 16-hour days just to avoid the fact that it meant, like, going home, I'd have to see her, so I'd pretty much to avoid her. And then I was, like, 160 pounds overweight, and, like, I'd wake up and eat 2 rolls of Jimmy Dean breakfast sausage, like 2 pounds of sausage for breakfast, and that was, like, my mood motivator to actually start my day. Like, with that much food, basically, that was, like, my happy moment. And so, you know, I was in a marriage I didn't like, a job I didn't like, and, like, fucking, oh, my God, one day I realized I was going to work for myself, and, like, it came about through, like, a weird turn of events and everything. But, like, I mean, I do salvage and domestic cleanouts and that type of thing, and I'm my own boss, and I'd never trade that in for anything in the world, because it allows me to have opportunities to take these creative outlets. Like, the worst thing to me is, like, you know, people call me a glorified trash man. Here's the thing. Every day I have the option to sleep until noon, you know, if I choose to. The home I have is bought and paid for, as well as the land it's on. The truck and the trailer I own, those are also bought and paid for. I can live on less than $200 a month if I need to. Now, I mean, there is no rise and grind lifestyle for me while working at a job that I loathe. I dread waking up to every day to go to, and, like, for a company who doesn't give a shit about me. And it's a company, you know, with an end goal. It's basically to grind my bones into fucking dust and take the best years of my life in hopes that I'll generate more revenue for them before I either become geriatric or I fucking die.
Preach.
And I do all this just so I can, like, you know, live in a house that's, like, I got to spend 40 years to pay for, that's basically built on $20,000 worth of construction materials. Like, it's fucking nuts. And then, like, you know, I got to go ahead and live in a neighborhood around people I don't even want to associate with, who don't want to associate with me, in a place that I'll grow weary of living in, and, like, I'll be tired of it in 4 to 5 years. And I'm just kind of like, this is why I live off the grid, this is why I work for myself, and this is why I pursue shitty endeavors all the time and try to turn them into big things. Like, I thrive on failure. The thing is, you don't realize you're succeeding until you fucking failed 1,000,001 times. And then when you finally succeed, like, that makes all the difference in the world. Because if you keep trying and you keep fucking it up, just statistically speaking alone, like, you're eventually going to get it right.
Yeah, I always use the expression, like, sometimes I just hope I might fuck up and get something right.
Right.
And that's really what it is like, you keep trying. I've been trying things forever, but I haven't really sunk my teeth into anything.
Right.
And all my life, the one thing that's consistently been there is that I've always loved getting a laugh reaction, but I always, like, pushed off the idea of, God damn it, I need to stop for a second. I forgot to talk about the music at the beginning of the show.
So
all right,
you should throw that in there.
All right, I'm leading into stand-up comedy. Anyway, the song at the beginning of the show is a metal cover of Genie in the Bottle by a guy named Leo, who has a very Italian-sounding last name that I can't pronounce, and I'm not going to endeavor to butcher. So the YouTube channel is Frog Leap Studios. I love his shit. He does metal covers of like pop and old like 80s songs and just all kinds of random shit. He metals them out. And then he also will sometimes take a metal song and just fucking put banjos and cellos and shit on it. So it's worth a look. Check it out. So,
and we are also the worst hype men in the history of podcasts, because I don't know who else is going to go ahead and play a nice badass track and then try to hype it up with the word jism or chicken nuggets. I just want to say.
Yeah, well, unless you got people who are going for the laugh.
Yeah.
So I guess on that note, yeah, check out his YouTube channel because he goes for the laugh in his videos and has links to where you can, if you have like Amazon Prime, you can listen to all of his shit for free. It's awesome. Or you can just watch it on YouTube. You all have it on your phone. So
Nice.
I love it. Check it out. Or not, whatever. But anyway, so I never really had I didn't believe that I had the ability to like do comedy.
Right.
And I fancied myself an aspiring writer.
That's where I started. Like when I started writing, it was because my ex-wife, who I was married to at the time, she went ahead and she used to spend all her free time basically just going ahead and writing like a Harry Potter fan fiction, and it was like usually had erotic undertones. So she basically wrote Harry Potter erotica, and she used to get together with a friend of hers and spend hours trying to flesh out this book. And I read it and everything, and I was just kind of like, this sounds like a goddamn recipe for lasagna. This does not sound like no fucking erotic novel. Like, they laid it on top of each other, and then they put some sauce on it. And I was just kind of like, this is the worst goddamn thing ever. And so I sat down one day to write, and that's when it suddenly hit me that I had the ability to write. Now, I wrote and everything in college and high school and stuff like that, and I was okay at it. I always got an honorable mention from, the instructor or the teacher or whatever. But, like, when I sat down to, like, basically rewrite the shit that she had written about Harry Potter and all that and the love scenes and the fucked up weirdness that it was, I was just kind of like, this shit is fire. I'm actually a decent writer. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm way too talented for this relationship. Like, I'm with the wrong person. And it's like, that's basically, like, around the time when I really started contemplating divorce. And, yeah, ever since then, no regrets.
So then, in the bigger sense, you got off the grid and you became independent of the man.
Oh, by far and away. Like, I've always had a distaste for the man because I was in the military, and I was the world's worst soldier by far and away. Like, in basic training, I broke into the personal room and stole everybody's cell phones back for them. I ran a black market tobacco ring where I'd send people down to the store and, like, smuggling tobacco products. I was the worst soldier ever. So I had a distaste for the man, like, from the jump.
That's a different level of heat.
Yeah.
If you're fucking bringing in contraband to like a military base.
Oh man, I used to get paid like $20 a cigarette. Like it was like prison up in there.
That's for that. Fuck smoking at that point.
I would sneak out in the middle of the night and go buy like 2 or 3 packs of cigarettes from the PX or something during basic and AIT, and I would literally make $400 or $500 off like 2 packs of cigarettes, and it was fucking awesome.
I say fuck smoking at that point, and then you can hear me wheezing into the microphone.
And the thing is, I'm the one who smokes among the two of
Well,
us.
I smoke like crazy. I'm really trying to get it in my head that I want to stop, but like
Yeah.
I'll sit out in the car because like wintertime I can't just go hang out outside.
Yeah.
Or I guess I could, but I'm too big a puss. But I just sit in the car because I have a heater.
Yeah.
That stops the wind.
I'm always pretty much attached to a cigarette. Like it's about a 10 a day right now for me. Like every couple hours I light one up, and like during a stressful day, I don't even count at that point. Like if I'm stressed, I'm just kind of like I'll grab another Marlboro and like eventually I'll get through it. And the thing is, smoking makes your anxiety worse anyway. You've got 4,000 different carcinogenic chemicals. You've got like 0.2 grams of nicotine, a stimulant, and everything else. So like you're gonna feel it. It's gonna light you up.
Well, the nicotine they found is actually the least harmful chemical in the damn thing. Like,
Yeah.
it really has the same overall impact on your body as caffeine.
Yeah.
But like, it's all of the extra shit they add to it that really fucks you up.
Right. Right.
And that's the shit you get addicted to because they say that if you're just on straight nicotine, then like the withdrawals would be similar to caffeine. You'd have headaches, and in a couple days you'd be okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well, I mean, like I've stopped smoking for years at a time, but I've always picked it back up because it's like basically my coping mechanism for stress. So like whenever anything happens, I'm just kind of like I'm going right to the nicotine.
Yeah.
And like that's pretty much it. Then it's the beer after that, and usually that diffuses whatever bomb I was about to detonate.
yeah, I get that. I'll hang out in the car and not realize it, and I'll smoke 5.
I've done it. I've done it.
And because I'm just listening to podcasts, like
Oh, it's
I'll
even-
put something on the radio, and then I'm just like, well, this chair's okay. I can sit here.
If the power goes out, like I just basically need to go out and buy out a gas station because like I've got nothing to do at home, and I'm just gonna sit there and just chain smoke and read a book, and that's gonna be all she wrote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, luckily, like now, I say luckily because I like when I end up living in a place where I literally don't have the option to smoke unless I want to really cause problems.
Uh-huh.
And I don't like having big problems in my life, so I don't smoke in the house.
Right.
So that helps, but then wintertime's the worst because that's when I hang out in the car and get lost in the fucking Joe Rogan backlog.
Oh yes.
Fucking
I've done it many times.
so yeah, anyway, you were the one who had the balls to get it together to go up to the Comedy Attic and do your first stand-up comedy routine.
I wouldn't call it I'd call it like officially my first recognized where I said I was doing stand up. Like there were a few times in my life when I did stand up while I was drunk in a bar or something like that for like a slice of pizza or something. I remember when I was in this I lived in Salt Lake City during a brief period after I got divorced, and Utah is full of Mormons and basically plastic surgery and a whole lot of double standards.
Midlife crisis.
By far and away. And so I went to a small covert gay bar there one time, and it was nothing but like bear bikers and then like little Twinkie kids, and like it was a very eclectic mix of people. And I was drunker than shit because all I had to drink was like Miller Genuine 64 calorie beers because it's a gay bar and we're keeping it real.
Yeah, well,
I don't know what the hell that was
it's
about.
a bear bar though.
No, that's what it sounded like. I was hoping someone would pass me some fucking Jack Daniels or something,
Yeah.
but no. It was mostly just designer whiskeys and like 64 calorie beers and whatnot, and Neapolitans and shit like that.
And Twinks.
And Twinks.
Ugh.
And so like fucking I got really smashed on MGD 64s and I wanted a slice of pizza, and he's like, well, go up to the front of the bar and say a few jokes and whatnot, and he's like, maybe I'll give you a slice. And like that was when I first really took off a few years ago and realized I had a knack for a bit of a stage presence. And like asking me to go up and make fun of a bunch of bear bikers and Twinks was like the easiest goddamn thing in the world at the time because, well, I'm drunk, I'm witty, and I want food. And so I'd done it at another bar prior to that, and it was a small set, but it wasn't advertised, and I didn't work towards it or anything. But then this time, I actually buckled down and like emailed the club promoter and everything like that. And
Right.
I emailed the way I emailed him was like set in such a tone that I basically wanted him to realize that like I was semi-witty. I had the potential to be funny, but I knew nothing about the comedy business and stuff. So, like, basically when I emailed him, it was just kind of like an email out of humility and a lot of regret talking about I can't wait till I fail at doing stand-up so I can get a life of alcoholism and potential regrets and stuff
So
like that.
you were trying to display that you were aware of the fact that you're not going to come in there and like be his top draw next
Oh,
week.
by far. Yeah, like I was trying to basically indicate like, I know that like I'm starting from the bottom and like I'm not trying to go career or nothing, but I would like to try to pursue this. And then I just want them to know, first and foremost, while I am witty, I am clever, like I know that I have the potential to suck and I will fully embrace my potential to suck.
I think the most exciting thing when I think about it, and still I'm definitely the talk about it guy now, and Ben's the be about it guy on this
Apparently.
podcast. But when I think about it, it's like the fact that I know that when I listen to everyone I admire in the community, everyone that's established a fan base and sold out arenas or whatever, like all those major league comedians, and then the next level, which is like the comedians.
Yeah.
When I listen to all of those acts talk about like what it took and what they went through to get where they're at, every last one of them will tell you, except for one, will tell you that you better expect to bomb early and bomb often.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to go in, and this is the funny thing, like, because now you've had your first real one. you know?
Yeah.
This is the thing they always say is that you usually get lucky the first couple times. And then after that, you start to really taste bombing. And then it's whether or not you can handle the bomb
Yeah.
and come back again. And, like, I know that for me, the real anxiety is being in the club itself.
Yeah.
Because it's a cool place, and it's a place that I love, but it's also a place that really just fits every physical criteria that drives me insane.
Okay, yeah.
So it's like a closed-in space, low ceilings, one exit, fucking, everything. And then I don't care about the people. Like, I want to get them on my side naturally. I have that in me that I want that attention, but I don't give a fuck if they don't like me.
Right.
I just don't want to go through that whole nerve-wracking experience.
It's definitely nerve-wracking.
Getting to the stage.
Like writing my bit and everything took days. I bounced jokes off you. I bounced jokes off like my cousins, people walking down the sidewalk. I was so desperate to find ways to share my jokes and actually get feedback from them that I joined like online communities of people who were like physically disabled and who were like had a host of mental disorders. And like I would Skype my jokes to them while they were in their like support group chat rooms and stuff like that. And like the thing is, I figured if I could make like, you know, physically disabled people who usually, you know, are going to be a little bit down anyway, depending on the day they're having. And then like, you know, people with a host of mental disorders. So I could make those people laugh. Then I was off to a goddamn good start. And then like, I even took it a step further and got really fucking, really nerdy with it. And there's a game called Second Life. It's basically a built by the user for the user type of a MMO game. And I literally like made a virtual character online in that game, walked into a virtual comedy club and scheduled myself an open mic. And then I went ahead and I did my routine in front of like, you know, it was about 20 or so people just basically on Skype with like, you know, avatar characters in an MMO game.
Right.
And like I went out, everything went off without a hitch when I did it there too. But like that's how desperate I was because we have so little places in town to do open mic. Even the club that I did the open mic at was like, I don't know. It's not something I'll probably ever want to do like on a habitual basis or like with a lot of heavy frequency. But like it's something I might do like maybe once a month or something like that. But like when I go in there, the place is kind of shaped like a crucifix inside, like it's shaped like a cross.
Yeah.
And like you're basically on the bottom of the cross, and you know it's kind of like sets a pretty bit of an omen for what might happen and what might go down with your upside down cross there. And like so like I got to the club and everything, and like I walked in there and. I mean, when I advertised the event and told people I was going to do comedy, I put it on social media, basically just Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And I didn't expect the turnout that I had. I had 25 people show up. Like initially, they thought I was a famous comedian. Like I guess there's a guy whose name is Brent Terhune, and he's a writer for Bob and Tom. And I guess he does like a comedy set and a brief tour every now and then. And the thing is, I hate Bob and Tom. Bob and Tom is just like overly regurgitated hype, and like all they do really is try to find dick bits in the face of an overly censoring FCC. Like if you listen to their like one of their broadcasts once, and then you listen to it the next week, you'll hear the same bit just told in a different like analogous manner.
I will go ahead and offer a counter view on them. Than that,
there is no other view.
No, that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion, and I'm not trying to bring you around to mine. I just want to. I think the fact that they're basically looking for dick bits in the face of the FCC at this point in time, given the whitewashing of radio that's happened,
right?
I gotta give them credit for that.
Yeah,
and I also know that like one of the things that Bert Kreischer said at his show was that he's a big fan of those guys, so it seems like they're comedian friendly.
Oh, yeah,
so. I at least don't want to like just bury them. I want to give them something, you know. Like so,
I can't even stand the show.
It's
Family
not
Guy.
I don't watch it.
Yeah.
Or listen to it, I guess. But I don't want to. I did when I was a kid.
I'm like really particular about what I find funny though. Like the stuff that's been done to death and you know stuff like that and the over redundant and repetitized things. Those aren't just something I find funny. Like I can't stand the show Family Guy, and because like I know there's no story arc to it, and if there is a story arc, it's like fictional and it derails all the time. And then like basically how over the course of 10 years, like how funny can like you know 4 or 5 characters be, and how many spinoffs can you have of those characters? And the whole thing's just basically been you know done to death for me. I couldn't Family Guy if my life depended on it. Like I couldn't watch a show.
You couldn't Family Guy.
I couldn't Family
That's
Guy,
a
bro.
verb now.
Couldn't watch it. No, no, it was just not my thing.
Yeah, Family Guy. Family Guy is not really my jam either. I just had to like ninja switch out mic stands there.
I saw the whole thing. It looked like a monkey fucking a football. It was awesome.
Yeah, yeah, it was very not ninja like.
Right.
With my.
So the club itself wasn't bad when they put you on the end of a cross.
Thank you.
And everything else, and you got to go to the green room and all that. And like when I got there, like I'm a person who has like a inherent social anxiety, like it's always there in some form or another.
Right.
And then I'm a person like I had event anxiety too because I was going to go up on stage in a room full of people, and like that once they figured out I wasn't someone famous, I was just kind of like acting like the whole thing just happened anyway because it was supposed to. Like this was the grand plan, was that I was going to bring a bunch of people and everything would go off without a hitch. But inside I was nervous and I was dying inside. Like I was in between like riding the rails on whether or not I was going to shit myself or I was going to be permanently constipated. Like I couldn't get my body to cooperate. I couldn't eat anything. I couldn't drink anything. Like that's how nervous I was. It was hard for me just to meet and greet the 25 people who showed up. I brought in, it was like between 22 and 25 people, and I brought in the most, save for an Asian kid, and like he went to IU, and all the people that came for him and everything were like below the age of 20, and they looked really young. It looked like half the club looked like it was filled with a middle school basically, and so like that's just kind of what happened, and like we were the two first timers, and there were like basically 10 other comics besides us, and yeah, it was a long process. They even had a meeting in the green room when we first started. And the guy who led the meeting, if you've ever seen a Scary Movie 2, he looks a bit like the David Cross's character with the wispy hair, the small point, like prominent gut, and then like the
strong hand.
Yeah, strong hand nerve vibe thing.
Did he have a strong hand? Because that would be amazing.
Not even close.
Dip it in your mashed potatoes.
Oh, that's a completely different character. David Cross was the one in the wheelchair with the googly eye and the ray guns.
I love that I'm the retard today.
It's
like,
okay.
That seems to be how this is gonna go.
We'll work it out.
It's okay.
You can. I'll piggyback you, big guy. I'm gonna get a hernia or two, but we got this.
That sounds sexy.
You was a big man.
Oh boy.
So it's like, yeah, but that was David Cross's character. The wispy hair, like the little like nerd, the whole nerd vibe that he was just kind of pretentious and he was a wee bit better than you. Like he was condescending as shit.
Okay.
And there was like 12 of us in there, and we had every freaking stereotype known to man. It was like a Comic-Con convention, if you will. Like there was a token Asian guy, and then like who was actually really smart. So like he was the intellectual, like crazy smart Asian guy. We had the token black guy. We had the awkward fat guy, and then we had the hot girl who was hot and who knew she was hot. Like we basically had like every comedic stereotype like right in that tiny ass green room. That was nothing more than like a rotting drop down ceiling with water damage and a peeling pleather black love seat. And like that was the green room essentially, where we had a meeting and we were told, don't be racist assholes.
Sounds beautiful. Well, I got to give an aside here. As far as the awkward fat guy goes, I don't know who you are and I don't know where you live, but I am coming for your spot. And
It's good to have goals.
I am writing, and I heard how you bombed. I heard how you went off on a heckler. I wish I knew your name so I could call you or some shit and just talk to you about how you totally could have handled that better. So like we talked about like 3 different people, and I'm not gonna give away anybody's jokes.
I totally won't. I'm gonna be proud about it. Yeah.
But the oh shit, what? Okay, so there were like 3 different people you talked about that like I immediately was able to give them like 3 taglines for the premise.
Yeah.
So obviously they don't suck. They're coming up with premises that aren't terrible.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just like, I wish I was there to just start offering to sell them jokes because I need money.
Right.
Like, I'd be like, dude, you could have said this, that, this, that. As far as the dude bombing like goes, he went off on the crowd because he had a joke about ice cream.
What it was is like there were a total of a few people who came before me, and like I was one of the last, almost the last comics of the night. I think I was 8th out of like a series of 10 comics, and a lot of people came before you. And like basically, if you're me and you're as like narcissistic as I am, you basically think about it in terms of the fact that these people were pretty much to open for me. They had crowd control, and whether or not the crowd was going to be in a good mood, they were going to be interested, or they were going to be relaxed, and not just like waiting for the show to end and leave. Yeah, pretty much. And like when you're putting me on that late in the night through like a 2-hour bit where everybody just talks, like you can automatically assume that people are going to have like, a problem after a while. And I mean, I would too. It's common sense. And the thing was like the people who went on before me, like there were like 3 of them that were like worthy of notoriety. One of them was an awkward fat guy whose shtick was that he was an awkward fat guy.
Yeah. And
like he got up on stage and he started doing this bit about how he's so fat he likes to keep a budget for every month for so he can have ice cream. So his bit was basically an ice cream budget.
Right.
And you hear some random girl off to his left be like, me too. And all of a sudden you could just see him like have like a spontaneous and total combustion meltdown moment. And like he was just kind of like, well, if you'd let me get to the fucking punchline. And then he just kind of be like, and you ruined the joke. And he's like, but I did have some more jokes, but I'm pretty sure she'd ruin the jokes. And like basically he went from being a stand-up comic to like being a strange, awkward, fat man on a stage bitching because some girl said me too. Like it was a very simple
where
agreement.
he lost track of the fact that it's his responsibility to steer the course of that room.
Oh yeah.
So like I'm not like I've never been in his position, so I want to like make that clear. At least he was up there.
Yeah.
And but what I instantly thought of was like there's several different ways you could roll with that. She yelled out "Me Too."
Right.
Me Too is a major thing right now. You could have easily been like, "Oh, great. Well, now it's the end of my career because she said Me Too." And then or you could have just been a nice guy about it, and you could have asked her what her favorite type of ice cream was, and she'd probably say like cookie dough. What's yours?
Yeah.
And you could be like, I like Neapolitan. And then she'd be like, why? And you could be like, because I can get 2 scoops of pink, 1 scoop of stink. And you boom, you got the
That's
whole
it.
room.
The room
you
is
just
now back.
popped the whole room, dude.
The room is now back.
Okay, dude, you got to chill, man. I'm awkward and fat too, but if you're going to step up there, and this is part of the reason I haven't done it, I don't know if I'm ready yet, but
Right.
You've got to own the fact that you're responsible for whatever goes on in that room.
That's what I
Up
tried to
to
do.
a point, like, oh shit,
That's
I
applause
don't
worthy
mean
almost,
to be
though.
that
wasn't bad.
self-congratulatory.
Yeah.
No, but like you have to roll with whatever's going on. Now, I've heard like if you listen to any major comedian, they'll tell you like you go down to Miami and then they're all on cocaine and they won't shut the fuck up and it's weird.
Right.
You just can't like there's a fight and someone pulls a gun, like shit happens. But like that's a simple, real easy just a girl yelled out "Me Too." Who gives a shit?
That was it. And that's when he had like a complete and total meltdown.
So now you turn the whole crowd against you, but you also make it harder for anyone that comes after you.
Oh, that girl and like her whole table basically just kind of sat there and gave him this look, and like they got to the point where they were literally like shocked that he would actually like blow things that wide like out of proportion. Like I get that you're there to see a show and they ask you to turn off your cell phones and everything and to devote like the majority of your attention and everything, and you can always be respectful. But like a Me Too agreement type of heckle, it's not even like she was trying to be disrespectful. Like the worst comes to worst, she just could have been somebody who likes ice cream. Fuck.
She may have been like, "Oh, look at this fat guy trying. I'm
Yeah,
gonna be
it's even
supportive."
better.
Like you don't know where she was.
She could have been charitable as fuck.
Maybe she's a little bit of a narcissist. Obviously, she's yelling out at a one-way conversation, but like you
or
don't
she
have
could
to
be like the Salvation Army of sorority hoes. Like you never know.
I am an angry fat dude in my
can
day-to-day
understand
life. So I'm going to tell this guy that's never going to hear this that don't be the angry fat guy on stage. People are sick of the angry fat guy. It's not a fun, cool place to be.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work to get out of it. Like in life, just in regular interactions. So what do you think's going to happen when you're on stage? People don't like it. It's abrasive. It's your fault. Bill Burr said it best. You fucking ate your way into this mess. You can walk your way out. Don't blame it on everybody else.
Like I've been fat, I've been skinny, I've been fat to the point that I was self-loathing and ate more just to go ahead and get myself out of my mental prison with a little food euphoria for a minute.
I did it yesterday.
Yeah, see? Yeah, obviously people can relate. And the thing is, that's the thing. I can relate to both sides of the spectrum. I've been super skinny, I've been super fat, and I chronically straddle the line in between like every day. And I don't have a meltdown over it though or something like that. And I don't think that most comedians should go off of based on how how they look. Now I get if you're fat or something, or you have like a third eye or some shit that's really prominent, and you're just kind of like, well, let me just state the obvious and get it out of the way so I can do my material. But like, I had the girl who pretty much opened me up, and she went before I did. She was like the 7th comedian or whatever. She was the door girl, and I love this door girl shit. Because when I first got to the comedy club, the little David Cross character said I went on after the door girl who wasn't present at our little like meeting in the green room. And I was like, well, what's she look like? I said, because, I pretty much want to memorize the face of the person that I go on afterwards, just so I can see when they go up on stage and start warming up. And he just comes to me, she's like, well, she's the door girl. He's like, this will be the first face you see when you first walk into the club. How could you not remember her? And I was like, gee, I didn't realize it was my personal mission to go ahead and stalk the fucking door girl. Like, if I want to make it and succeed in this business, I'm going to have to treat it like I'm playing Milton Bradley's Guess Who or something stupid.
I think there is probably a certain level of politics and networking.
Yeah.
But networking's fine. It's when you got to do shitty things for it that's not cool. And, I don't want to be anybody's Me Too story.
Right, right.
Unless it's about 2 scoops of pink and 1 scoop of stink.
Everybody wants that story.
Yeah, so I just stick my tongue in the chocolate side and just blah.
Blah. I can see it.
But
I can't wait to see what kind of charges she throws at you.
well,
after the deed
I
is
know several local people who listen to our show so far.
Like you say,
I'm
so far,
hopeful.
like please
so
turn
far,
around.
like it could become
you
less.
have the option to stop.
It could become less. It could become more. I have no idea at this point.
Right.
I am rambly, but the words.
The words.
Yeah, no.
I got you. So, okay.
Fuck, I forgot where I was headed with
It's
that.
okay. We'll get the train back on track. But
Thank you.
Anyway, so like this girl comes up and she's like crazy mad awkward, and she's the one who's going to open for me and everything. And her whole shtick was that she was a cute awkward girl who was awkward, and
Right.
like essentially like what she was making the crowd do was basically have to be like, what would I feel like as an awkward girl, and how would I go about and treat these moments? And it was range like what she talked about was everything from like smoking weed to like basically just getting approached by guys, and like I was just kind of like, okay, awkward girl smokes weed, and like the way she did it was funny because it was because of her delivery, which was just awkward. If you get up on stage and you're quiet for like 2 minutes, somebody's eventually going to laugh just to ease the awkwardness. And then when she opened me up and everything, it was like I had like a do or die moment in my head, and I realized that like I had just watched a guy like basically go down in flames, and I watched a little Asian guy do a set where he emulated his parents, but he did it in like with a Chinese accent. And he even had a bit about how when he first got to America, he didn't realize like his American name was Evan instead of his like Chinese given name, because I guess they trade names once they come over or something. And he was like, people called me Evan for months. He's like, I never came when nobody called me. He was like, I just sat there. Everybody thought I was deaf. I was actually just Chinese. And so, he had like a little bit about that.
That's pretty funny, bro.
Yeah, dude, it's
Probably
hilarious.
shouldn't give away too much more.
No,
of
I'm
his stuff,
not.
but
I'm not. But
That's
it's pretty
funny.
good.
I kind of like to see his jokes.
Yeah, and I got up there and I got up there and I was just kind of like, well, I'm about to come out this like a Disney character on cocaine. Like these people have already sat here for like an hour and 45 minutes. They've heard good comedy. They've heard bad. The awkward girl was basically my intro, and like she doesn't have to intro me. She didn't intro me. She just did a routine, and like nobody knew if I was capable of producing a laugh or not. So it's not like I had a whole lot to work with in the first place, nor should I deserve to have a whole lot to work with. Like I get that part, but I was just kind of like, could I have been stuck in a shittier situation in like a very awkward place? And I was just like, fuck it, I'll do the best I can.
Right.
And I got up there and got as animated as possible and like delivered my jokes, and like I had jokes about how fucked up my family was. I had masturbation jokes, and like it was so fucking bright up there. It looked like the Rapture when I was on that stage. Those stage lights were fucking huge, and like yeah, dude, I was just kind of like, when I first got up there, the first line out of my mouth, which I didn't even think about, was like, it looks like the Rapture up here. I'm probably not going to get picked for that either. And like it was one of those things, like that's what I led with. And I was just kind of like, so I went through and I did my whole bit, and like the pacing was really weird because I was nervous, so I couldn't get the pacing right. And then like I was trying to go ahead and do different voices to differentiate between my characters and stuff like that. And like it came across so you could tell and you could kind of figure it out. But like I still have a lot to work on. But I mean, literally the whole house laughed their asses off, and like I had multiple spots where like my jokes fell and people got them, and like I had bits on everything from like having my laptop break so I couldn't watch Pornhub and shit, and it still went off without a hitch. So yeah,
Dude, that's the worst. Oh man, I hate when my laptop breaks.
Oh, dude.
Or when I wake up and the Wi-Fi's down. It's like, you know what? I don't download porn anymore, motherfuckers. You've made me fucking reliant on this system.
it totally is.
You can't fucking go down.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think I have internet for?
Streaming has ruined things. Like
If I was just uploading podcasts, I'd go to fucking Starbucks.
oh, dude, this is why I'm broke now. Like within the same span of a week, both my laptop and my cell phone broke. Right. Okay, so like I couldn't look at porn, I couldn't check the weather, I couldn't even like openly broadcast or tell anybody that I couldn't look at porn or check the weather, because I forgot that we live in a civilization that puts everything online. Like I forgot that we used to talk to each other like face to face, live and in person and shit.
Yeah.
And there's like I don't even know. Like I look at a girl over there and I'm like, is that Angela? I can't tell because she doesn't have puppy dog ears and very awkward lighting. Like fucking Snapchat's ruined it all for us. And like all of a sudden, I don't have Pornhub, and like, dude, I support millions of hoes online 5 to 7 minutes at a time on a regular basis. Okay, they need me. And like the thing of the matter was, like, so I couldn't even like jerk off to ease the tension. And I'm sitting over here and I'm like, all of a sudden that box of Kleenexes on my nightstand was like something now that I used to officially blow my nose. And then like all of a sudden my socks were cleaner than they've been in years. Like my socks weren't harder than fucking mini prison shanks on the floor. And like, it's just because Pornhub was gone from me. Like it was an entire way. I don't even know what happens.
A man with your imagination shouldn't have that problem.
Oh, dude, I don't even know what happens like at the end of a porno. Like I only make it 5 to 7 minutes and through. Do they hug at the end? Is there a high five?
Go team, go.
like,
Like,
yeah, dude.
We won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and like some of that was even part of my bit I threw in and stuff like that. Like I made self-deprecating jokes and I tried to hit all areas for like the people in front of me in the audience because I realized that there were like 75 people there and like 25 of them came from me. That still blows my mind. I had no idea when I advertised the event that many people would turn out just to see me talk in a room for 5 minutes and pay their hard-earned cash to do so.
Well, that's the funny thing is like my biggest fear is that I'm not going to be able to put together 10 people
Right.
to show up. And as far as bombing, I want honest reactions if I do get 10 people to show up. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want them to laugh because they like me. I
Right.
don't like the idea of bringing my own crowd.
Yeah, we talked about this last
I haven't
podcast.
earned
Biased
my
crowd
own
sounds
crowd.
horrible. Yeah.
I haven't earned my own crowd yet, and I need to go out and learn how to work in front of somebody else's.
Yeah.
Like, the thing, and like this is what I was trying to say earlier when I lost track. I hope that it doesn't get out around like someone go and snitch, like tell the Comedy Addict what we're talking about, and then like fucking get mad at us.
I'm not
Because
really worried.
ultimately, well, you're not worried about it. I want to get up there.
Yeah.
You know, and it's really it's the biggest comedy spot in town,
Yeah.
and is what it is. My idea is that we should probably find a smaller place, team up with them, and fucking make a dedicated comedy night open to whoever.
It's totally that's where I'd go with it. Like the
And
amount of suspense
partner
that I
up
was
with
in.
somebody,
Jesus. Yeah.
like, and this is all right. Tuesday night, whatever,
Yeah.
we'll fucking figure it out. But like, anyway, the point is, the thing I'm most afraid of is not being able to do that. So
Yeah.
the idea of like, you could have several funny people around who
Yeah.
just aren't able to get your crowd in there for you.
Yeah.
You're the promoter.
Yeah.
Promote. Just start a fucking this is actually a good transition because last weekend last weekend fucking Friday 2 days ago I went to Indianapolis. I went to Morty's Comedy Joint. It's the first time I've ever been
I'm anxious
there.
to hear that. I wanted to go with you like the day of, but I couldn't even like buy
Did you-
tickets because I had to work.
Oh, you didn't even buy a ticket?
No, like I usually like I'm a procrastinator.
Oh, they were
so, like,
sold out.
Were
So,
they?
yeah.
Yeah.
He sold out 2 nights, I think.
Yeah.
2 shows, 2 nights.
Okay.
So I fucked up a little bit, but we'll get there. Anyway, we got there. It's a pretty cool place. Everyone was nice. I hate comedy clubs as far as sitting in them. Like, it's just not comfortable for
Okay.
a guy my size. And, like, I need to man spread, and there's not enough room to do it.
I think even small people need a man spread from time to time.
Yeah, if I sit with my legs together,
You got to
like,
ventilate.
my hips do this weird thing, and they like lock up, and then my leg will start
Yeah.
twitching, and
Yeah.
it fucking like hits the person. It fucking sucks.
I just don't like bunching up to like the fucking marbles and the Vienna sausage to the point where I feel like I'm in a sweatshop. That's pretty much it. So I
Yeah.
gotta ventilate and man spread.
Yeah, it's like if I had my druthers, if it were up to me, I don't know what the cost of running that place is,
Yeah.
but I'm going to tell you there were at least 500 people in that place.
Oh, I'm sure.
The entering and exiting
Yeah.
process was a clusterfuck.
Now, for those who's not aware who Bert is, like, go ahead and say the bit he
Bert
does. there.
Kreischer is one of the biggest touring acts in the country right now.
Yeah.
He's famous for being on the Joe Rogan Experience. He has his own podcast. It's called the Bertcast. He's I guess there are people who know us who may not know who he is.
Right.
The
Machine.
He's the Machine on YouTube and Facebook. It's been traveling around for a few years now.
It's like
He
a
did a
13-minute
story
bit. It's insane.
where he went and he basically did a bunch of shit with the Russian mafia. I'm not going to fucking recount his story, but it's really good. Look it up. If you haven't heard of him, that's the one to watch, and it'll get you in. What I would suggest to anybody who likes him is when you go to his show, just know that you've already seen the Machine story and stop pressuring him to keep telling that story because he's clearly fucking unhappy about having to do it at the end of every show. Like, it was noticeable.
It's still viral.
What? It's viral. You've
Yeah.
seen it.
Yeah.
All right, quit making him this
That poor
fucking
guy. You
great,
got it. Oh my god.
hilarious man who has no need to travel around doing the same bit for fucking 20 years. He
Yeah.
doesn't need to have to do that.
I can only imagine.
Stop
the pain.
yelling it at him.
That's got to be bad.
I don't know if he agrees with me. He's
gotta
never
be-
going to hear this. I
It's
don't
got to
think
be
he's
like
gonna
Gavin
give a
of the
fuck.
fucking soul, where someone just tells you
know,
to say the same thing for 12 minutes over and over.
Like,
and over
he doesn't
again.
give a single shit about what I think, but
Yeah.
I think that he seemed genuinely unhappy when he went in. He tried for about 20 minutes to come up with everything he possibly could say after the end of his hour.
Yeah.
He went on for 20 minutes. Just random shit. All the bits he's working on half-ass, shit he thought up off the top of his head, crowd work. He was like trying to pick a booger. He had like a booger stuck in his nose through the whole show. At a certain point, someone like accused him of doing cocaine. And he like, he had a couple jokes with them.
Yeah.
And he was fucking hilarious the
Right
entire time. Killed the crowd. The opening act, I can't think of his name. He's on Roast Battles. He was good. I should probably figure that out. But he was so good. And then he was putting off telling the machine story as long as he possibly could.
You could just like see
and he
it.
actually said at one point, and I don't know, he's a comedian. He knows what he's doing. So I don't know if he's saying it on purpose.
Like to generate suspense. And
but
like
he literally said, like, you can tell I just don't want to tell this fucking story. And, like, he's just like, he's throwing out everything. Like, and it was awesome because you could tell he was workshopping new shit. And if you're within the sound of my voice and Bert Kreischer's coming through, go fucking watch him. It's fucking hilarious. I regret that by the end of the show I was tired. I started work at like I got up at 3 that morning.
Yeah.
It was almost like 1 in the morning, and it was midnight, and he told everyone he was hanging out. They were keeping the bar open. You could just party with Bert Kreischer.
That would have been the shit.
I went home. I was tired. The guy that was with me had a court thing he had to do the next day. It was just like, fuck, man, I wish I could have hung out.
Oh, my God. I'd have given up my last wish to probably party with Bert. That would have been awesome.
But so he, when he's feeling it, he parties with the crowd.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much his reputation. But
he's got a video on YouTube of where he does like a hangover food challenge, and like basically they just make him eat a lot of weird shit while he's hungover first thing in the morning to see if any of it cures the hangover. And like I think he sold on like spicy pho noodles or something like that. That was like a best hangover choice. And it was like one of the first videos I ever saw besides the machine video, and I was like, I need to look the rest of his material up.
Yeah,
I was like, if a guy is that funny when he's that hungover in the morning eating a bowl of fucking noodles, then like he's definitely worth watching again.
It was interesting because I follow those Death Squad comics so much. I've heard a lot of the bits he did already. Yeah, because I've heard he just throws them out in interviews like they're nothing. He tells his stories, and that's what. He gets excited, and he seems like he'd be a genuinely cool guy to be friends with. Yeah, but he's also a guy that like I respect comedians who are actually on a high level, so I'll never do anything to try to like weasel my way into their lives.
Yeah, I even starting out being a comedian, I'm not kissing nobody's ass to do anything, and I definitely don't want to like go ahead and throw a wrench in anybody's gears just to try to succeed or something like that. Like if I'm going to succeed, it's going to be because of the work I put in. Like I spent weeks just rehearsing 1 5-minute bit. And like just to go ahead and get it right in front of a crowd. Yeah. And like I brought notes with me, and the stage lights were so bright I couldn't even see to do my bit. Like I had 70% of it memorized, the other 30% was random masturbation jokes, which you've all heard now.
Yeah, you got to start writing new ones.
Yeah. I got a page and a half of school shooter jokes. We might be all right.
I helped develop those.
You totally did.
And the premise of that all was saying I felt like Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris when, how was it? Oh, we were talking about how, it's kind of a pain in the ass because like we go through life and we do everything we're supposed to. Right. But Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris had it easy because they didn't even fucking get done with high school. No. It's not like we didn't get bullied in high school. We just didn't fucking shoot anybody.
That's exactly it.
And these motherfuckers just shot people, and then they're like, oh, well, the cops are here and we're going to like have to like go get the death penalty. So we'll just kill ourselves. Boom, we're done. They didn't even have to make it. They don't even know. They never even had the fucking slightest idea of what kind of fucking trials and tribulations exist in the real world. Right. And they're fucking capping their fucking student. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Like, I gotta work for a living. I don't just get to like walk out of high school if I don't like something. I don't get to shoot some people and go full auto if I'm having a bad day. No, there's times in my life where I've had a supervisor, and even you all got supervisors out there listening, I'm sure, who swears a Mexican's coming to take his jobs or something. And you got to deal with shit like a quota or a quality control, all in the name of paying bills. Dylan and Eric didn't have bills. They just had to cover the cost of ammo. Like, you can stand on a corner and people will donate money to your cause if you hold a sign saying you're going to shoot somebody you don't
Well,
like.
those trench coat sporting motherfuckers could have looked homeless easy enough.
Right?
They just stand out there and be like, we'll suck for food. And then they fucking give a couple BJs out, and then boom, before you know it, they got 500 rounds.
They weren't even old enough to figure out their sexual orientations before they took their own lives. That's the worst part.
Yeah, I don't even get, like...
They didn't have to deal with cholesterol or doctor visits. I mean, they killed themselves before it even happened. They didn't have to take a 2 out of 10 out to Red Lobster and give her, like, take comfort in the cheese biscuits because their date was lame as fuck. They didn't have to worry about starting a family or getting married to appease anybody, especially their parents.
They never had to, like, deal with, like, getting so injured that you can't fucking exercise your body.
Yeah.
So you fucking depression eat
They
all
never
the
had
time.
to be old, broke,
and then
or
you
fat.
fucking, like, yeah. And then, like, they don't even know how bad life can be. And they're just, oh, God, I hate killers.
Like,
Like,
okay,
I hate
what the
killers
fuck? Like, you
so
got to deal
much.
with acne, a squeaky voice, and, like, people are the same who have the same fucking problems you do talking a bunch of shit.
And on top of all of that shit we just mentioned, there are people who have to deal with that, and they're black.
It's even worse. So much
Like,
worse.
They get shook down by the cops, and they get fucking guns pointed at them because they fit a description. Because everyone
informality.
with beautiful chocolate skin that looks the same to these dunces, and fucking like they don't have to. Black don't crack. It's beautiful, baby. Like, I just don't understand. Like, and for anyone who wants to say it's the gun's fault.
It's not the guns.
After all of that I just said, if you could think it's because the guns existed, that shit happened, that those weren't fucking demons sent here through fucking hell portal uteruses that fucking spat them into the universe.
Uterus or uteri?
Uteri.
Uteri.
I think uteri.
I think
would
it's
be
hell
the
portal
appropriate thing.
uteri.
Yeah. Oh man, you the right
Like-
man for the job.
Like, I mean, it's like basically it's kids with acne who eat fucking like laundry detergent for fuck's sake these days. Like,
Yeah.
basically, I've told a ton of people to drink bleach, but no one's ever fucking drank bleach.
You think if Tide Pods existed at the time, and YouTube, you think if Tide Pods and YouTube existed in was it 99?
Somewhere around there. It was a while back. Yeah.
Well, back when Columbine happened.
Yeah. When the
if
high school
Tide
coach
Pods and
realized he had
YouTube
two good
existed
shooters.
and high-speed internet, Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris may have just took themselves out.
They totally would have taken.
They would have
themselves
just been
out.
on An Hero,
They totally would have.
and then we did. Yeah, all those people.
That would have been like adolescent Darwinism at its finest.
Stop telling kids to stop eating Tide Pods is what I'm telling you.
Yeah. Okay.
If they think it's a good idea, just let them do it.
let them do it. That's
If
one
your
less
kid
mouth to
thinks
feed.
eating a Tide Pod's a good idea, that motherfucker needs to die. I'm sorry, you raised an idiot. But natural selection will do it. You can go ahead if you got your tubes tied. I'm sorry, you may have fucked yourself, but you got a little premature on that one. You had to lose a baby before you got the perfect family.
Even then, you ever see people with the perfect families always rock those fucking geeky bumper stickers that say shit like, my honor student does such and such. Like, I feel like they lack a lot of fucking potential realism. Like, if you have the type of child who can only succeed in life because they get constant validation
What
from the
if-
fact that they can read a fucking book,
I don't know.
it's too much. It's too much maintenance, man.
I actually just thought of a joke I'm not willing to say.
It's okay.
But
I feel like there needs to be like a counter line of these argument bumper stickers, like just to go ahead and counteract this shit. Like my kid shot your honor student.
No,
or like,
you went there.
Or my daughter, or like my daughter got fucked by your honor student. Like if we're really just
my daughter got fucked by your honor
yeah,
student.
dude. Like if we're really just gonna
That's
put it
the
out
worst.
there and say what it is, like we should just fucking get it done.
That takes self-deprecation to a whole new level.
Like, I really
my
think-
daughter's a slut.
Oh my god! Like I've even seen the one where people tried to sell them online. My kid sold your honor student drugs.
Dude, the Me Too people would be so pissed at that. My daughter's a slut.
Oh
You
my
can't
God.
slut shame your daughter. Oh, that would be the comments on YouTube would be a riot.
This is why I don't have kids. I just feel like I've saved myself a lot of pain. I really do.
I was just reading something where they said this girl's mom got her highlights for her birthday. I don't know if this is bullshit or not, but this girl's mom's got her highlights for her birthday, and then her fucking dad, when she took her home, like cut her hair. Like,
Oh, wow. Okay.
Gave her a pixie cut.
Oh,
And so
boy.
everyone's fucking pissed.
Hey, everybody wants to raise a tiny Ellen DeGeneres.
And I can't help but laugh at it.
Yeah?
Like, 'cause
That's pretty good.
I feel bad for her, but it's hilarious. Her dad's such a dick.
I can see it.
But it's okay. The joke's on me. I'm gonna die young of cancer.
Probably from the smoking.
Yeah, most likely.
As I'm drinking water to cure my cotton mouth right now.
Yeah, I was about to do the same. But
Right.
yeah, so comedy and open mics.
He's like, now after we've had this derail, but we went somewhere good, we'll just go right back on track. I got you.
Yeah, I really I have a dream,
Okay.
sort of, that I would like to somehow create some kind of event
Yeah.
that is weekly
Yeah.
in Bloomington with a smaller establishment. Hopefully someone that has a stage. I
Yeah.
have one in mind, but I don't know if the layout of the bar is actually good for it.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if I don't know if a brewery's the right idea.
Yeah.
But I don't know. People seem to like their beer. Maybe it won't be so bad. I'm not gonna say their name yet, though.
Right on. No, there's a couple places here in town that I still want to like scout out and do because they have open mics for comedy and stuff. I don't know how that process works,
Right.
but like, even though the comedy club was a good club and everything, and it was like overall a positive experience for me and stuff like that, like, I just wasn't happy with the fact that like I had to have like telepathic total recall of the door girl and how I was talked to. And then the one time I ordered a drink just to ease my nerves, which was like a simple Jack and Coke, my waiter, who looked like a broke, skinny version of Jesus, went ahead and brought me back this brown-looking liquid that had a tinge of alcohol to it, and that was kind of my drink. And it was like, you know, if I do this once a month there or something like that, that's about the most I'll be able to stand. I'm not knocking the place because though they still have like, you know, a huge following and they still do a lot of business and like, you know, big names still go there and everything. But like, as far as I'm concerned, for what I feel is my opinion and, you know, for my preference, just not really for me. Like, I'd like to find different venues and stuff where
Yeah.
like you could do more.
Judging by your recount of the place, I don't really like to, you know, I don't
Yeah.
like, it's not that I don't like the place or anything like that. It's just that I'm the type of person who, if I feel like in the course of just arranging what we're supposed to
Yeah.
do, you just outright disrespect me for no reason.
Oh, dude, it was one of those things.
And you really don't have the physical like things you need to back that up.
It's one thing when a guy
I
with
might
muscles
give you a little love tap upside the face.
Yeah, it's one thing when a guy with muscles says he's going to whoop your ass. That at least
Yeah.
is somewhat intimidating.
It's
And
not
that, like,
yeah. I'm not gonna full blown assault anybody, but I might give him a little paintbrush action. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's like, dude, what are you doing?
But like, it
Like,
was really
you're
weird.
the manager.
Yeah, that was the
You-
thing. That was the thing. Like, he was basically just like condescending, and like he just looked like he was having a really bad night, and like he had a lot
Well,
going on.
I
his
mean,
full
he
plate.
could have been.
He could have been having a
really
bad night, but like from the people I've talked to and everything, because I posted like a 5,000 word status on Facebook. Basically, it just said this was my experience in doing an open mic in comedy, and you know, part of my routine and stuff like that. And like I got a lot of likes on her, so I think like 20 or so people read the whole like 5 or 6 pages and liked it, and you know, they give me input. And one of the people was a real good friend of mine that we used to actually what do you say? Well, I was the president of an after school club in high school, and she was my vice president. And the club was nothing more than a skateboarding club where we just smoked weed and talked about political issues. It was something to do, so I didn't have to go home. And so like, but no, the girl who's my VP that I've still talked to since then, she told me that she knew the owners of the place and that her husband had actually done work for him and stuff like that. And she said the guy is always like that. And he's always anal retentive and condescending and never shuts up. And her husband,
That's just him.
yeah, basically, she said that was just kind of like his overall personality. And her husband is a big guy. Like, whereas I have like arms that are 20 inches around, his are like 24-inch pythons. And then
Brother.
like fucking whereas I'm like kind of stocky and stuff, he's fucking like every bit of like 6'3". So like he's not someone you just kind of be like, hey, I'm gonna talk some shit to you, and then he's gonna drop a pool table on your head by himself. Like, it's one of those type of things.
Yeah.
And so, like, you know, that dude even then was just kind of like, I know that guy's defenseless and he looks kind of sad, but I'm even thinking about snapping him up and breaking him off a piece of my Kit Kat bar. And it's just fucked up.
It's funny because it seems like he knows this guy's not really a threat, so he just kind of gave him the worst possible, like, I'm gonna beat him up line he could.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna break off a piece of your Kit Kat bar.
Yeah, dude. Basically, that's it. Like he was just kind of like, it's not gonna work.
It's
pal.
just like you're talking shit to someone you're really not scared they're gonna try to fight you. Like you're just like,
and I
this
train
dude
mixed
ain't gonna do
martial arts on the
shit.
regular.
Unless this dude's a psychopath and carries a sidearm, he ain't gonna do nothing.
dude.
And so, like, he's talking shit. I'm just gonna be like, oh yeah, well, I fucked your mom in her butthole last night, and she made me breakfast, so I guess that makes me your daddy. Like,
I wish I could do voices like you could. I swear to God. I tried doing voices during my routine, and I was just kind of like, the only voice I've got is my hick voice, and it's only different from my normal voice because I got a drawl on it, and that's like, it's fucking horrible.
I don't know, man. I would say that you're a little better storyteller than me. So you get some, you give some.
Did you ever figure out that bit where you wanted to do Mike Tyson reading 50 Shades?
I don't have it ready yet.
You don't have it ready yet?
No, because I realized that I had a moment where I did a really good job, like doing the Mike Tyson thing.
Yeah.
And then I instantly formed it into this bit idea.
Yeah.
And then I really don't have a good, like, even a solid, not like. I mean, when you're trying to do Mike Tyson, you don't have to do it well, and people get it.
Sure.
But I would like to try to get it a little more on point.
Yeah.
Like get the cadence and stuff. So I'm going to have
cadence.
to listen to some more Mike Tyson talking, like on headphone loops and stuff.
Yeah.
But like I really do eventually want to have Mike Tyson just pop into the podcast and say some silly shit, like
read some 50 Shades.
So maybe some 50 Shades. Maybe I'll find some more ridiculous shit than that. Like, and then the idea I had was like, I wish I had the line I sent you that one day because I worked it out. It was very like alliterative.
Yeah, it totally was.
But like to have him say some "fucker and thuff a task," just hit a lot of those sounds real quick, and then just have him like whatever when he looks up from whatever he's reading and be like, I don't think that's how Mike Tyson would handle it. I think Mike Tyson would probably bend her over, and then Mike Tyson would probably hit her with a little bit of a donkey punch while he's dropping it from behind, and then Mike Tyson would drive it to her like the champ of the world, and then Mike Tyson would give her the time of her life, and Mike Tyson would make sure she had a limousine home. Mike Tyson would make sure everything was paid for so she didn't have to worry about shit. Mike Tyson's in charge. And this girl's going to know everything. She has the time of her life. She's going to have a story. She can tell everyone she loves, everyone she talks to in the future. Her future lovers are going to wonder if they measure up to the champ.
Dude, if no one listens to this podcast, it'll be a goddamn tragedy. Cause seriously, I'm over here just trying not to pee my legs. That's where I'm at with that right now. Oh my god!
I think I guess that I don't know. Was that any good?
Dude, that was okay.
You don't know what it sounds like in your own voice, like.
Well, the tone, like Mike Tyson's actual tone and everything, like that high pitched voice and everything. Like if you were a singer, you pretty much hit the note. And like this is why I'm really glad you have a good ear and you do all that shit with music that I could never do. And like the thing of the matter is, like you had like the right note of his voice, and the cadence was almost like spot on for the match. Because like Mike Tyson is like a slow person, but all the time he's angry too. So like it's like a mix of like hyperbole where he talks fast and talks slow, and then like so you just got to try to get the pacing right.
So it starts out a little more gentle like this, like. I'm kind of glad you asked Mike Tyson a question, to be honest. I wasn't really expecting a good interview today. You look like you didn't graduate high school. But I appreciate that you asked me a good question about the quality of life for Mike Tyson. The quality of life for Mike Tyson's been great because the champ has never been beaten. The champ got the right hook, got the uppercut. Don King knew what he was signing when he signed Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson's the champ of the world because Mike Tyson's the best in the world, and that's how it goes.
That's about right. Now you're getting it. Yeah. You got to have the crescendo at the end because Mike Tyson always loses his shit. There's one clip he did on YouTube where the guy was asking him a question in an interview, and he was just kind of like, "Oh, now come on," and then like he goes on to talk to him some more, and at the end of it, he's like, "You're just a piece of shit," and like he just lays him out, and he keeps like slowly enunciating between, "You're just a piece of shit." It takes him like a minute to say it because he's so fucking rattled. Like Mike Tyson's pacing and the way he talks is fucking hard to emulate.
Yeah. He's such a cool character though. Like I wish I knew the real guy. Like that would be one guy.
Like Mike Tyson pre the rape charge or after the rape charge? Because you got to think, like, before you get a rape charge, like, you got to be a crazy motherfucker on one hell of a drug binge. And, like, after you get one and you do some prison time, like, do you calm down or do you get worse?
From all like accounts, he hasn't committed any crimes. He's put together like cartoons and shit. Like it seems like he's kind of chilled out. Like
I think
he's
so.
just trying to have a cool life. And
So which one
have
would
a
you go
tiger,
for? Like, would
yeah.
you go with Party Mike Tyson pre the rape charge when he was all spun
no, I
out,
go
or-
with now Mike Tyson.
Now Mike Tyson. Okay, you don't want.
I'd want to hang out with now Mike Tyson because I want to know like what through with the wisdom, whatever wisdom he has now. I want to know like how he sees the world, like from where he came through to now, and like just I think it'd be interesting. But I also think that he seems like the kind of guy who you never know what the fuck's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So you might be out just driving around and like he'll be like, Mike Tyson kind of wants to go see Joe Rogan in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I'm gonna go. Do you want to go with Mike Tyson to Los Angeles see Joe Rogan?
I'll totally go with you, Big Mike.
Yeah, then like wouldn't he be the coolest guy?
He
Like,
would though. He'd be chill as fuck.
I don't know if you've ever seen much Tom Segura, but he has a really cool Mike Tyson bit, and he talks about he met him on a plane, and it was really funny, and it's similar to like what I've been saying is like he just when Mike Tyson likes you, I think that Mike Tyson's a very calm man.
I think so too.
Mike Tyson's got his shit together. Mike Tyson's got some nice things around. We got a couple bodyguards that are gonna make sure we're safe.
Did Mike Tyson used to do a lot of blow before the rape?
Bitch, there was no rape.
It's so hard. We could turn this into a bit if I could keep composure. I can't fucking do it.
How many times I gotta tell you, motherfuckers, there was no rape? Mike Tyson didn't rape nobody. Mike Tyson makes rough love, and all the bitches know that.
I can't. I'm so bad. It's too
How are
funny
you gonna
and
be
too
with
high.
the champ and not expect to get it from behind like I'm a fucking king of the world?
I'm too high and it's too funny. I can't even stay on it. It's so bad. It's quicksand.
So yeah, I want to do some Mike Tyson.
You
shit.
should totally do some good Mike Tyson shit. You really should. I swear to God, if you don't do that in part of your first ever open mic, like we have failed as a race.
That's gonna be my fucking parachute.
It
if
totally
I need
should.
something to save.
My
save
parachute
me.
was masturbation jokes, and like they went off without a hitch, and I got mad lucky.
I just got to be really careful because I know that other bit not to accidentally fucking rip it off.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, and that I think in a hot spot moment, that's a thing that could happen.
That was like one of the worst things for me was like when I was writing my own stuff, I was like, I don't want to inadvertently rip somebody off.
Right.
So like the minute I wrote something and everything like that, and I knew I was going to do it on stage, I'd go ahead and Google the shit out of it, and make sure I was the one doing something that was interesting. Because I swear to God, like I don't want to come up. My girlfriend introduced me to this show called The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. It's on Amazon. And it's about a girl in the 50s who's a comedian in a taboo time where girls shouldn't work or, exceed their domestic roles or whatever. And one of the things that she leaves her husband over or that they divorce over is the fact that her husband rips off his fucking bit from like someone famous. And he just goes ahead and recounts the bit he does on stage because he thinks he's a comedian.
Is this that one about that's like based off of Mitzi Shore in the Comedy Store?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard of it. What's
Yeah.
it called again?
The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out.
Oh, dude, like I fucking binge watched. When I found it on Amazon, I binge watched it like the whole night long and shit, and I was cracking up in stitches and everything. And like the thing was, like she admonished her husband throughout the first season or whatever because he used to rip off someone's bit, and it was basically about like Abraham Lincoln forgetting his top hat while he was president, and like something or other like that. And it was really fucking
man,
lame.
that's really close to my Abraham Lincoln bit.
Yeah.
I have it's not developed, but like I started as a Facebook post, as a lot of my shit does. Because I'm just thinking whimsically. I was thinking about
movement.
yeah, exactly. I was thinking about the Underground Railroad.
Yeah.
And
oh, don't get that high.
All right. Anyway,
I wish we filmed this.
lead guitarist of King Bee and the Stingers, who are going to play the outro of the song, DK Buchanan, and I went through this phase, and we still occasionally do it, where we write these things and we hashtag them facts I just made up.
I love your facts I just made up.
Okay, so one of them was about how what goes under the radar because of the abolitionist movement and the Civil War and the freedom of the slaves and everything is that Abraham Lincoln was actually a world-renowned badminton player.
Oh, okay.
The reason he always wore the top hat was because he started it as his trademark while he was touring the world in badminton tournaments. He wanted to school people while he was wearing a top hat. It was really just a silly thing that occurred to him.
I see.
And then it became his gimmick. He had to stick with it. So I can't remember the details of where it all went. But basically, Abraham Lincoln is a world champion badminton player.
Yeah, those are what I called your made-up Matt facts that I used to read like religiously on Facebook whenever you posted those.
Yeah, I should probably maybe come up with one of those for like the show every week or something.
You totally should.
But those things like just it hits you when it hits you, man.
Or you could go ahead and look at the week's weirdest news and then go ahead and write the Matt fact and converse to that or something like that. Like Matt's version of the weird news.
Yeah, just spin it, spin the spin back on itself or something. Like I don't know, I'm not that clever, but maybe I am.
All right, so we know how my week was with me doing stand up and whatnot, and all we've covered so far that we both want to be aspiring stand up comedians. Seriously, book us. But hey, it's a podcast. I can pull it in there. But how was the rest of your week by comparison? What'd you do for the week?
Dude, I work.
Dude. Anything good happen at work?
Does anything good ever happen at work? I'm not going to talk about them much, but
yeah,
I work stupid hours, man. We've got an overtime program. It's hard to pass up right now.
Yeah.
I've been doing that for 3 years, and I'm fucking tired.
Okay.
And I'm burnt out, and this is part of why I've been having so much fun with this, is because it's just a totally different exercise for my brain. But yeah, dude, through the week, I don't have a whole lot of energy for much else.
You just done. When you get off work, you're just fucking done. You're crippled.
Especially if I work 10s or 12s.
Yeah.
It's just fuck, dude.
You put in overtime this week?
This week I did, but I got to do half of it on Sunday. Now, I love working Sunday because they pay us really well for Sunday.
Yeah.
There are certain things my employer does that are very, very good.
Okay.
There are other things that make me want to slit my wrists and then blow my brains out.
Well, I mean, now that we're getting emo, how was the ex-girlfriend thing going? Since you talked about that a lot last week,
no.
So are we still going to cut ourselves with a safety pin and swear our allegiance to a girl unknown?
I don't swear allegiance to anybody.
I wouldn't either.
At this point in time. We've spoken about things, and I overreacted to some shit.
Oh, okay. So you were a typical man.
I didn't know the entire situation. I heard a little bit. A thing occurred. I was like, "What the fuck?"
Okay.
I got pissed. I eventually got over it, and I don't know. We get along.
Okay, so you're getting along now.
But there's I don't know. There's things in the world that have my attention.
Okay.
And I just don't know how the coolest idea I know of that exists for me would also amount to either I don't know how to make it work, because I'd either have to take my dream out back and just shoot it in the head.
Okay, yeah.
But it's another dream,
Yeah.
It's two separate dreams. It's I don't want it to be either or. I want to have my cake and eat it too.
Okay.
I don't know that that's possible. So,
I mean,
it may just be a sweet fantasy that's fleeting.
I made a shit ton of sacrifices to live my dreams, basically. Okay, I don't have running water, and I shit in a glorified bucket.
Right.
It is a compost toilet and is rated. Okay, but I don't have running water, and I take Navy showers in the morning and stuff like that if necessary. If I feel like showering, it's not been one of those days. I get up and that's just nothing but beer that's going ahead and cleansing me. And to run off from my pores.
Yeah, cleansing.
Yeah, very nice. So I do a lot basically just to ensure that I can live the way I want to.
Right.
But at the same time, I've made some epically huge sacrifices that a lot of people take for granted every day just when they do things. When you go take a shower, you take a fucking 20-minute shower?
Dude, Not here.
Yeah.
Fuck no, not here. I don't get a 20-minute shower. I get 13 minutes and it's ice cold.
Ice cold.
Like fucking yeah, dude.
I have like a 2-gallon coffee pot bun warmer device made for like, large events or whatever that people attend. And like it's a buffet device pretty much. And I fill it with 2 gallons of water. And then like that's my shower water. And like if I don't turn it off within 12 minutes time, it gets so hot it almost gives me 3rd-degree burns. And don't ask me about the time I tried to wash my dick when I didn't realize that information was vitally important. Because it almost went badly. So like I have made some like huge sacrifices to live the dream. So like if you ever want to live the dream, you should just know that like you're gonna pay for it in other areas of life, even though you're doing what you want to do.
I realize that, and yeah, it would have to be like a pretty down-ass person.
Yeah,
and I would have to ask a lot of that person.
Yeah,
a lot of that person. I don't think it's fair, and I don't know that I could ever bring myself to actually ask for that.
Yeah.
So, I think, sadly, it may just be a thing I have to deal with.
Okay.
But that's life.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's really, I've been trying to just obsess over the dream as much as possible.
It's all about the dream.
But no, otherwise, I don't know. I've been just trying to, get the name out of the podcast as much as I can. I'm trying to share with people that this is the thing that I'm trying. All the people who have told me all my life that I need to fucking try to do something.
Okay.
Like this is the thing I'm trying to do.
This is like your X-Men 3.
This is what I know.
The Final Stand.
This is what. Yeah. No, it's got to be better than that.
Was it the Last Stand?
It
or the
can't
Final
be that
Stand?
bad.
It was horrible. I don't remember.
If that's my effort here, this is doomed to fail. No, this is. I'm putting all of me into this.
All right.
And whatever good things come to me in the process, great. Whatever bad things happen, whatever. I'm already buried in debt. I'm already job locked.
Okay.
I already don't have a girl right now. I already whatever. Fuck it.
Okay.
Like. So I'm trying to think of ways to tell people, hey, Death by Cheeseburger is a fun thing. This is I'm starting a thing. I want people to get involved.
Hey, next time we do this, we'll be wearing cheeseburger shirts.
I know that's funny. Well, I won't because it's probably a hair too small for me.
We'll cut the sides. We'll make it into like a.
Maybe I'll cut the sleeves off.
Yeah, do something like that.
Yeah, I'll have my fat elbows hanging out.
There you go. White trash it up.
Yeah, flabby grandma elbows.
That's not bad. Bat flips for the win.
Oh fuck. Anyway, I'm trying to do a thing, so like I need people to get involved and help, and but I also don't like to ask for it. So, I don't know. That's what I've been working on.
Yeah,
trying to figure out.
Now you went
drop this shit in like weird.
Oh yeah,
weird Facebook conversations and stuff. So like I'll be on a group. And like,
you did.
I don't
this
know.
This week. Okay,
whatever's going down. So we talked a lot about like sexual assault and stuff.
Yeah,
so, like I'll wait for like one of those starlets will accuse some dude of like sexual misconduct, and I'll just go in there and I'll start talking to people. And I always come at things with the position like I believe in innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that we need to doubt the victim. I'm saying let's not necessarily crucify the assailant yet.
Oh, there's plenty of cases where men were locked up from false rape accusations.
Right. So let's
large
wait.
Chunks of their lives.
Let's wait. Let's crucify him after he goes through courts.
Yeah.
So there's the whole court of public opinion thing that social media has given us now.
Yeah.
That never really was a factor before. Anyway, so I go in and I have this discussion, and whatever happens, it could be like, I'll just basically take the position that we should wait and reserve judgment, and then someone will fucking start calling me a rape enabler and blah blah blah.
Rape apologist. That's one.
We'll
of my
go
faves.
through a few little jabs back and forth.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, you can hear all about this belief and more you hate, and then drop the link for the podcast.
Yeah.
And hopefully some other people who think our interaction was funny might check it out. So I've been doing shit like that.
I can't stand when you put a good word and a bad word together to try to to go ahead and stress things out like a rape apologist. Like rape and apology don't go in like the same like compound set of words.
No.
That just doesn't happen.
No, and I don't apologize for rape. I'm a fucking sexual trauma survivor. Why would I ever do that?
Right.
Like, but people don't know that about me. They
Yeah.
see, like, I put a legitimate picture of me on Facebook. It's just me, big fat guy, big fat bald guy with glasses and shit.
And ladies, he's single if you're ever
He is
interested.
single. He's great at eating the puss. I'm pretty sure I said that last
You
week.
totally
too.
did.
I guess that's the thing.
That's a reoccurring theme now.
But
Until Matt
I
gets a
girlfriend. Hide
girlfriend.
who I am because
Yeah.
I'm never gonna catfish anybody. They're
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
know. Believe me, they're gonna hear about how fat I am before we ever meet.
You ever been catfished?
No, yeah. Yeah.
He's like
Mildly.
Yeah,
I
instant
was
recognition.
mildly
Like
catfished.
whole head moves. Like
It was
unfurled.
actually like the one time I actually used POF to like a somewhat successful end.
Yeah.
But I wasn't ready to be dating, so it was already like I wanted to get laid, but I didn't really want to date anybody, and she seemed like she wanted to date.
I had a catfish keep me from like committing suicide with a girl. I was in a relationship with a
Jesus
girl
Christ.
who was like fucking misery.
That's
like
a whole different.
I was basically I had a tree picked out in this bitch's backyard when we lived together because I lived with her, and I was gonna hang myself from this tree like a wind chime. And the only person I had to talk to, as it turned out, was a catfish. Okay, and basically, she's got a Facebook account named it's like Samantha Peden is her name. It's a picture of a really hot girl, but you can find her like her pictures all over the internet and Instagram. It's just somebody else's account. And what had happened was Facebook went ahead and made her give her like real identity before they shut down the account. And she was such a devoted catfish, she put her real name up for like a split second. I saw her real name. So that basically enabled me to track her down. And like I went to her one day at Maurice's, like a stalker, like a freaky stalker, because she worked at Maurice's in Bedford selling clothes. And I just kind of looked at her and I was like, yo, are you her? Are you really her? And she tried to deny it for a long time and everything. But I had told this girl like my most personal details, recounted like how shitty my childhood was growing up. And like she was there for me a lot during this like relationship I was in that was basically with a narcissistic meth head of a woman. And she was like, she basically saved my life. And I told her, I said, well, you know, if you are her, thanks for saving my life and stuff. And she was just an average girl, like in her 40s or so, kind of heavy set. And she thought, you know, she definitely wasn't the Instagram model she portrayed herself to be.
She was just like bored.
Yeah, basically just bored. And like
Yeah.
before you knew it, we had inadvertently bonded through the conversation because like she'd been where I was and like, you know, she talked me through it and everything. And like, so yes, I shook hands with my own catfish at the fucking clothing store in Bedford and just told her, hey, thanks for having my back.
Mine wasn't that. I mean, that's a weird one, but mine
Fucking
wasn't
strange.
that weird. It was just, it was real simple. Like
Yeah.
she just misrepresented herself a little bit.
Yeah.
Not a big deal. And so, but I am like, you know, I have that on my arm.
The truth shall set you free.
I believe in honesty.
You want to give your tattoo artist a plug like a drug dealer?
Oh, that all right. Yeah, actually, I do, but I need to actually pull up his page because I don't remember the name. Oh, I do remember the name of the tattoo shop. Derek Calkins at Big Guns Tattoo in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, is one of the best artists I've ever seen, and I've seen his entire evolution as a tattoo artist. I remember Derek at a time when I'm not going to get into what he's done, but I'm going to say that there was a period of time where I was trying to take him home so he could fucking shit, shower, shave, and get some clean clothes. And as we drove past his house, there was a cop sitting at the end of the driveway. He just happened to duck down in time that they didn't see him. We drove on through to the next town. I've had to hide that dude until we were able to figure out how to, you know, quash whatever was going on.
Yeah.
I love this dude. Like, I unfortunately can't hang out with him anymore. But I've watched him go from a guy who he drew all the time, man. His drawings were always sick. And he always wanted to be a tattoo artist.
Yeah.
And he just never really was able to get it together. And then at a certain point, he just said, fuck it. He left home. Like, he had some bumps along the way.
Okay.
And eventually, he's grown into, like, one of the best tattoo artists I've ever seen. And I don't think he gets enough credit yet. But I think that if he keeps it up, eventually it'll come.
I'm sure.
But the dude is insane. If you are anywhere within striking range of that place, go get your work done from him.
Okay. Okay.
He doesn't give you cheap shit. You will pay for it. You will love it. So I'm I don't know where I was when yeah, honesty is important to me.
Yeah, you don't want to catfish anybody, but you threw up the truth that's covered on your forearm there in a very nice font.
I had to plug Derek.
I had to plug him.
So anyway, she just was a really big girl.
Yeah.
And not that I have anything against big girls, but really big girls, I'm a really big guy.
How does that work anatomically in the middle of
At
the
a certain
coitus?
point, it doesn't.
Okay.
And I don't, I don't want to fucking have a miserable time trying to have sex. Like,
yeah, I wouldn't either.
So, yeah, it's few and far between when smaller, like, attractive chicks like me, but it does happen from time
There's
to time.
a whole network of women who love big dudes. You just got to find them.
Yeah, I got to tap into that.
You really do.
There are also chicks who just are like me and don't really have... I don't have that much of a preference until it gets to that point.
I see.
Some chicks are similar and they look for personalities more than anything.
Okay.
I'm losing my voice.
Well, it's that stuff.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That coughing and the carrying on from the smoke inhalation from the random atmosphere.
Well, I occasionally leave my car running in the garage.
Like not more than 10 minutes ago, I stuck a gallon jug to my mouth with the cap still on and tried to drink the water from it. So that'll tell you where we're at with that.
Anyway.
You said you didn't want to catfish anybody and you were trying to...
So that was my experience is that she made herself look smaller than she was.
Yeah.
Didn't really say anything to clue me in. I just saw her kind of waddling up to my house and I was like, God, dude. Now I gotta be the dick. Like, I don't want to be the dick, but you're not attractive to me. I understand that I'm not attractive to a lot of people for that same reason.
Yeah.
That's how it is. And, like, so she was nice enough, but, yeah, that's really it. Like, I don't date a lot because I don't like meeting random people fucking...
You ever tried to, like, legitimately have sex with someone you're not attracted to and, like, couldn't make it work at all entirely?
No, but I have tried to have sex with someone I was attracted to and couldn't make it work entirely.
Okay, I mean, I think we've all been there and everything. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not big. Like, I used to be big in my early 20s on casual sex and used to be awesome all the time. And as I got older,
I used to be big on casual.
I used to be really big on it when
That's
I was
a
in my early
t-shirt.
20s. Like, it was my thing. Like, basically, if she said, I had such a low self-esteem after my divorce that if a girl had said, hey, you're cute, I'd have been like, I can't wait to show you my dick. And, like, just hope it worked out for
Wait
the
till you
best.
see my dick.
Yeah, I was like, I got mediocre in my pants, but you know what? I'm really excited to show you. And, like, so basically, like, I used to be really into casual sex. And as I got older and I started to have like I started to mature and have an emotional understanding of things. Like basically, as I got more mature, I tried to go back into having casual sex if the moment arose. If she was hot, I had 15 minutes to spare, why not give it a shot?
Right.
But like, then I found out that, like, I had certain physical things that went on in my body that, like, hindered me from having casual sex. And the simple fact that because I wasn't attracted to her, my dick did not function. And ergo, she either thought I was impotent or incapable. And I was just kind of, like, really happy that it didn't happen anyway. Because, well, it just wasn't good. I didn't want it to.
That would have been one of your Me Too
That would
stories.
have been one of my Me Too stories. I'd have
Yeah.
been in a forum in the internet for 3 days.
Jesus, just weeping.
Lambasting
Like,
myself over
You
it.
have no idea what I went through. You can't relate.
Like, I thought we could make it work. And
You don't know what it's like to be powerless. What do you know? You're just a cis white male.
Cis, I hate the term cis anything. That's the worst part about
Yeah,
it.
you're just a normal fucking human being.
That's it. Welcome to the human race. We're glad to have you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're just a normal person. You couldn't possibly know what it's like to feel small.
Oh my God.
And insignificant. You're just a normal person who's just a small 6-foot person on a fucking gigantic meteor that flies around in circles around an explosion in nothing. You're just an insignificant little dot that's just not even microscopic on the scheme of the universe, and you couldn't possibly know what it feels like to be powerless.
Yeah, not at all. Not in the slightest. I don't get it. I really don't.
It's because the people accusing you or me of not knowing what it's like have small minds and don't realize we've thought it out that far.
Oh my God.
And we have tremendous anxiety from the fact that we're aware of just how fragile our lives are.
Once I learned I wasn't the smartest guy in the room and I wasn't the most capable human being that I knew, like, my life was forever humbling. And I realized, like, just to the extent of how badly things could go wrong if I put myself in certain situations. And even if I didn't, like, it's exponentially, there's a lot of variables that could come into play for anything I choose to do, and like it could go horribly wrong. And like once you realize like what life has to offer in that aspect, like you become a very anxious person.
Yeah, and that's normal. Like that's just a fear response to like your body's like, hey,
Yeah.
I could fucking die here, like, and yeah, like people have lost track of the fact that like Me Too exists because we don't have to fight off a fucking cheetah to stay alive anymore.
Yeah.
Like they've lost track of the fact that there was actually, if you want to talk about fucking males asserting their dominance, there was a period of time where we just grabbed your ass by the hair and drug you off to our cave and sired our fucking children with you. And there was nothing you could say or do about it, and that's how the world worked. And if you think that in 2018 you don't have it better than they used to have it, you're out of your goddamn mind.
Right.
Like,
one of the things I did was I told you this week that you should go put like the drop the name of the podcast in like a PTSD survivors group and stuff like that, because you have the ability to relate, and so do I. And the thing of the matter is, some of those people who have PTSD and everything and who've had traumatic experiences happen to them automatically have this assumption in the back of their mind that like if they were like physically assaulted, or if they were sexually assaulted or something like that, if they were assaulted in any form, that everybody they run into like every day after that assault transpires will be someone who will assault them or physically like harm them in some way, or sexually. And the thing of the matter is, that's why they don't leave the house and stuff like that. And I think in the back of their mind, like there has to be a point in your mind when you go ahead and get therapy and understand that like not everybody that you're going to meet is going to have the potential to do you harm in such a way that's going to cause you to have more PTSD or more fucked up feelings or something like that. And like I think we're also set on just basically saying that about people, that we don't realize who people actually are anymore as a whole, or like and it's also fucking negative instead, when there should be some positivity in there, some glimmer of hope in a vast fucking darkness.
One thing that
finger pointing
drives me nuts is when someone tells you their condition, like, and not that they tell me their condition, I don't mind that, but the way they say it is like, I'm bipolar. No, I have bipolar. I live with bipolar. I supposedly have bipolar too. They were hesitant to give me a hardcore diagnosis. I don't know why. But she basically said that's what we think you have, and blah, blah. We went through all these medications and stuff, but I try it and I correct myself when I say it wrong and I notice it. Is that I try not to say I am bipolar, because it's like, that's your identity then. You're claiming that as your identity. I'm fat.
I think so often a lot of people associate like their disorder, or like their disability with who they think they are, and they label themselves as that. You're no longer like Matt, you're just a bipolar case or something like that. Right. You're just someone who's bipolar, and like there's so much more to life than just that negative aspect where you experience a broad range of emotions or a broad spectrum of memories. And people forget all the time to live their lives because they're so stuck in feeling like that all the fucking time. And it's a damn shame. It really is. Like I even committed myself to a psychiatric unit for 5 days, and like I found that like, as crazy as I thought I was, like even they told me, the people who worked in the psychiatric unit and like the therapists and everybody in there, they were just kind of like, you're like the top of the high functioning part of high functioning people. Like, not are you just high functioning for someone with, who's been through a lot, but you're high functioning for society in general.
Right.
And I was just kind of like, because I understand that I am more than just a trauma case, and like, I still have a lot more life left to live. And I basically committed myself for those 5 days so I could get past that and have it stop hindering me from my ability to live. Like I acknowledged there was a problem, and I didn't go ahead and make that part of a lifestyle about how I associated people mentally in my mind.
One of the like disturbing things I see in like memes a lot, and I'm liking a lot, one is that people they rationalize horrible behavior. Like, so so what? I fucked up your car and blah, 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 blah. Well, if man kept his dick in his pants, you wouldn't have to deal with bitches like this. And I'm like, well, hold on. Like, all right, he's fucked up. He cheated on you. That sucks.
So
you're going to burn a house down? Like, what the hell kind of logic is that? And they put it out as a joke, but what they don't realize, they're kind of reinforcing this, like, we're embracing mental health a little too far.
Yeah.
Where we're saying not just do we accept that it exists and we accept that we need to try to help people, but we almost accept every shitty behavior that comes as a result of it.
Okay, yeah, I got
And it
you.
absolves people of their individual responsibility to themselves,
Yeah.
to their families, and to their communities to seek out treatment for those issues that they have. Instead, they get to rationalize the behavior
Yeah.
and act like they don't have a problem.
Let's talk about the treatment for stuff like that. Like you ever been put on meds for like, your bipolar
I've been
disorder?
put on a fuckload of meds.
All right, yeah.
I've been through 8 or 9 different SSRIs, a couple SRIs,
Okay.
and then a couple mood stabilizers.
Any of them worthwhile, or how did it turn out? Side effects?
All of them started out awesome, and you got floaty and like happy all of a sudden. Like, life didn't suck quite so bad.
Yeah.
Man. Like, and then in time, what happened with me every single time is that I became the end of the commercial.
Okay. Okay.
When they said if you have thoughts of suicide or
Yeah.
you may experience anxiety or worsening depression or blah blah blah, call your doctor.
Yeah.
I became that on every single one of them. So I
Okay.
just learned that I realized that I have a thing about me that is a struggle to manage.
Yeah.
That will sometimes hinder my interpersonal relationships, and
Okay.
I may fuck up career opportunity, whatever. It exists within me, and there's really no 100% effective medication type treatment
Uh-huh.
that is ever gonna like fully solve it. So
I see.
without making me want to turn the gun on myself.
Okay. Okay.
And I don't naturally, I'm not in a natural state of wanting to off myself.
Yeah.
So I find it disturbing that all of the treatments they gave me for when I was experiencing a super low period of my life
Yeah.
and those types of emotions and feelings, and I realized it and I went and sought help,
Yeah.
they actually in time made it worse.
Okay.
What I found to be the most effective treatment for my mental health, other than a lot of self-medication,
Yeah.
is therapy.
Therapy. Yeah.
Talk therapy with a person who represents an area of your life that you might have struggle in.
Oh, I've been there.
And you also need to find a person who is not afraid to challenge you and your thinking. Some therapists have a tendency to just let you rattle off whatever comes to mind and then walk out. You really need someone that's going to like stop you and make you like ask questions about your logic and your thoughts. That's the problem is
Yeah.
you're not asking those questions.
Yeah.
You're not drawing those conclusions, and their job is to basically help guide you
Right.
without giving it to you.
Yeah.
And that helps you develop the pathways in your brain to start solving problems.
Now, with
that
these
way.
pathways, do you ever try like anything like EMDR or something like
Yeah,
that?
totally.
Eye movement digital reprocessing. It's a whole thing that therapists do where basically they offer some type of stimuli because it's thought that different parts of your brain associate different traumas with different parts of your memory. Whereas PTSD victims, when they experience a trauma, what they're experiencing is a fresh trauma. No matter how long ago the trauma has occurred, whether it be a day to 15 years, they're constantly stuck in that place where the memories are fresh, the feelings are fresh, and they're basically experiencing them again and again as if it just happened again and again. And the thing with EMDR is what it does is when your eyes are stimulated to a certain point, it maps the pathways in your brain to take that memory from just happening and puts it in the long-term part of your memory. Like,
Right.
yeah, you ever done that?
Yeah, I
Okay.
have. It was actually probably the most effective thing I've ever done. But I noticed the thing that's funny about when you're pursuing your mental shit is that nobody ever prepares you for the fact that when you start sorting it out, it's like when you clean a house
Yeah.
and you make it worse before you make it better.
Oh, sure.
So like you start bringing these things up and you start having memories you haven't thought about in fucking 15 years.
Yeah, yeah.
And then like you're mad. I'm mad at dad again all of a sudden.
Okay.
And like, all this shit. Like I became a piece of fucking shit for a
Yeah.
little while. Like
Yeah.
I was real angry.
Okay.
I was real I was arguing with my boss at work. Like I
Yeah.
would fuck everybody.
Uh-huh.
And he was an older man too. So it was like you are dad, and I'm gonna fucking kill you. It was
Okay.
like my mindset. Like
I
I'm gonna
can see
do
it.
it slow.
Hypervigilance.
I'm gonna fucking find a way to fucking just.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna fucking. And he had something that made him fight right back. Like
Okay, yeah.
So whatever it was like we were just the perfect rivals.
Oh yeah, you guys were fit for like straight jackets and the rebel
Yeah,
room
and it
experience.
got to where like we'd have meetings at work.
Yeah.
And it's corporate meetings, so there's always gonna be some dumb shit.
Yeah.
And so I would make fun of it, and then he'd always, he sounds like Mickey Mouse in my head. So like, he's 6'2" or 6'3" maybe.
Jesus. Okay.
Has a mustache, old 70s mustache. He's
Yeah.
like 50. He's like 60.
John Holmes.
Gray
geriatric
black
version.
salt and pepper hair.
Okay.
Kind of gomery, like thin, skinny, knobby elbows.
Definitely John Holmes, except for the hair. But I watch a lot of porn.
Anyway, he's actually a good guy.
Yeah.
But at the time, and now when we talk about him, it's just I just cracked jokes at, and it wasn't at him. It was at just the bullshit we're dealing with.
Yeah.
He knew it was stupid.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden, I'd be like, "God damn it, Matt Jablonski! Every goddamn time I try to have a fucking meeting."
Uh-huh.
In this department, you turn it into a stand-up comedy routine. And so that became the environment I was working in every day, because
Okay.
this shit was happening daily.
I see.
And then I'd be right back in his face. Well, if you weren't such a fucking asshole, we
Uh-huh.
wouldn't be having these. And like I should have been fired 100 times. He probably should have been fired a couple times.
I'm
like-
sure.
But anyway, yeah, the mental health thing is like, a lot of us have something going on. And
Yeah.
we do a lot to like, we almost do too much to make it okay. And we've got to figure something else out, because what we're doing isn't working.
Right.
And the response can't always be, well, someone did something crazy, so we're going to take away people's freedom.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, that's not fair to everyone else.
No.
And I don't want to play the victim to a level where I don't want to play the victim to a level where I expect everyone to tailor the environment to me.
Yeah. Now, see, well, I went ahead and basically gave up 5 days to figure out what was wrong with me and get on the path to talk therapy and everything. I was only given like 2 medications. One of them was a sleeping pill, which did absolutely nothing, but caused me to hypersleep for all of about 3 hours a night. And basically, I'd sleep so hard, I'd wake up feeling way too refreshed and ready to go. And then they gave me one that was like an SSRI. And, okay, it did everything except what it was supposed to do. Like, it prolonged my level, like, to have sex and, like, to not have an orgasm, like, twice that of what it used to be, which is already decent now, because I do great cardio. Really proud of myself on that. But, like, it took me forever to basically ejaculate to the point I thought it was going to fall off. And then, like, I felt like I was walking underwater. So, like, I couldn't have sex, and, like, I couldn't adequately, like, control my body without feeling like I was surrounded, like, on all points by some type of, like, surface area and surface pressure. And, like, I felt compressed. And then, like, when it came to thinking and everything, I'd have these things called brain zaps. You ever heard of these?
No.
Okay, basically, it's like the chemical signals in your brain get misinterpreted, and you feel like you've been shocked in the head or at the base of your skull or in the forehead.
Oh, I've heard
And,
of
like,
that.
yeah, it's a side effect from these fucking pills. And, like, basically, my only best form of self-medication was just drinking. So I became like an avid moonshine brewer in my spare time. And like, I just made hooch. And like, that was the best medicine for me at the time, was basically, about half a doob and then like, a little small mason jar of hooch. And like, that did more for me than any type of like, psychiatric medication will. I'm not condoning that for our listeners or anything and saying, hey, go do that. But
I
like,
am.
Okay, he might be. I figured we'd go ahead and make it a possibility, but we'll affirm it. So,
I don't give a shit what you do. Have fun.
Oh, so let's see. Also, did you go bowling last night?
I went bowling last night. Yeah, I did.
How'd that turn out?
It was a good time. I haven't been bowling in forever, and mainly because the bowling alley is inconveniently located and always full.
Yeah.
And or at least when I can go.
Okay.
And I'm not in good shape by any stretch of the imagination. So, and I've always sucked at bowling, no matter how much I bowl. Like I used to like be really close friends with the guy that owned the bowling alley where I lived.
Yeah.
His daughter, and we hung out all the time. I go bowling all the time. It was whatever. But Anyway, I suck.
Okay, you suck at bowling.
Yeah, terrible.
Did you break 100?
Not once.
No,
No,
okay.
3 games,
I've
not
been
once.
there so many
Not
times.
even close.
All right.
I threw a lot of gutter balls.
Okay.
The last game was particularly guttery, where like you just looked and it was almost like it was like 4 hyphens of 7,
Okay.
3 hyphens of 4. It was awesome.
All right.
But I have a great time either way.
Now, do they have a podcast or something?
They do have a podcast.
Okay.
I went out with the guys from Tempting Floodle. That's TIMTING space FLOODLE. Tempting Floodle.
Okay.
They are great guys. I love them.
That was a plug, by the way.
That's a free plug. I have a lot of fun with those guys. I actually did their podcast yesterday.
Yeah.
But I realized about halfway through the second game that I was getting pretty sore already.
Okay.
And I just kind of realized that at a certain point today, I was going to be laying in bed, looking at my arm, longingly staring at my hand. It's just going to raise up and look back at me. It's going to be like I'm holding a puppet. And it's just going to be like, not today.
Yeah.
I have a headache.
That sounds pretty
It's
realistic.
going to lay back down.
Yeah.
And I just thank God that I'm able to make sandwiches with my left hand.
Yeah. Sandwiches. Huh?
Because I damn sure can't do anything else
Yeah.
with it.
Sandwiches. I got you.
And so, yeah, today's been a kind of painful, slow day.
Okay.
But, hey, sometimes when you're throwing 10-pound balls around, it happens.
I deal with that every day. Absolutely. A very masculine thing right there. Yeah. Totally. All right. Well, let's see. You got any upcoming projects or anything?
Upcoming projects, just more Death by Cheeseburger stuff.
Okay.
I guess I'm going to have to try to put my time together and get signed up for an open mic here soon.
You totally got to do that. We got to film it. They didn't film mine. I
Yeah,
have a friend who's got a
so
photography business.
Did they tell everyone at the beginning, like, no photography? Or?
Well, what happened was when I got up on stage, they basically said, everybody put their phones down anyway. But like before we even got up on stage, I should say, kind of high. They basically said, turn off all electronic devices. Don't be taking a lot of pictures. It's distracting. And I kind of think like, if you're a comedian, you kind of want the opposite of that, really. Like, wouldn't you want
at least
recognition? Yeah.
When you're what you don't want is like flashes going
no
off.
paparazzi type of looking shit.
You don't want like a strobe light happening, but I would definitely like it if someone records it. Because I might record the audio of it, but I want to see how I act. Like what's my presence like? Those are all things you got to think about. So I don't know if they'll let you. Like, I might just have someone do it for me.
Like, they even had a camera in the back on a tripod, and they didn't utilize it, and it was a digital camera. Like, okay, so what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to eat up hard drive space if people suck and nobody views it? Like, the more videos you put out, or, like, the more sound bites you put out about your purpose, the more people are at least going to listen, if not for anything other than boredom. So, I mean, at least you're getting some type of publicity about it.
I'm at a point where I'm not at a point. So, like,
right?
For me, if I were to go up and have like a good experience like you had, a positive response from the audience, a good applause at the end.
Yeah, totally.
If you had that recorded, you'd have 5 good minutes you could throw on YouTube.
Exactly. My YouTube channel gets like, anywhere from 100 to 140 views, which isn't
and
shit.
We're not
YouTube, but like still.
We're not the type of people who are writing for an hour special right now.
No, totally not. Like this
we're
whole
just
thing
trying
is
to
organic
get
as fuck.
like
this whole thing is organic with like no real thing. But like the most brainstorming we do is not like outside of the podcast. It's actually during the podcast for the most part.
Yeah.
Like,
and we toss bits back and forth through Facebook. But the funny thing about those is we're going strictly on like what we know of the other person when we read them. So I've got to imagine how he's going to deliver it. I haven't seen him do stand-up yet because I fucking forgot that he was doing it. And then I was in the middle of writing a song. So
it's all good.
We were both chasing whimsies.
Totally chasing whimsies.
And so, yeah.
My own mom sending me Facebook statuses on my wall and shit like, hey, where's the video of you doing stand-up? Did anybody video this and everything? And I was just kind of like, Jesus, now my mom's finally interested in my life? I'm at 32 here. All right.
Took long enough.
Right?
Oh, man. Holy crap. We're at 2 hours and 52 minutes, or an hour and 52 minutes, rather. It says 2 instead of 1.
Not bad. Well, let's see. So you got no upcoming projects or anything like that?
I don't have anything with dates on it. No.
Okay.
Working. Oh, I do get to say out loud, though, because on the Matt Signal I said that one of my goals was to make an 8-song album.
Yeah.
I have 2 songs written.
Okay.
I just wrote a song the other day. So 6 more to go.
When you get a song refined, give me a snippet of it, and I'll put like a small intro snippet on the website or whatever for Death by Cheeseburger.
Right on.
People can listen to that by your bio.
Yeah, I'm learning how to record an acoustic guitar. There's actually, it's not that hard, but there's like a specific way to do it. And so I haven't got anything recorded yet, but so that's cool. I got 2 songs. I'm thinking I'm probably just gonna assume it's gonna end up being an acoustic EP. I don't know. I guess 8 songs is not really an EP. That's an album.
I barely know the difference in the music shit. That's all
like
you.
3 or 4.
Yeah.
Anyway, so hoping to finish my first album. I didn't know that it was gonna have no hip hop to it yet.
Okay.
It may continue that way. I have no idea.
All right.
Writing just happens.
Writing just happened. I'm well aware. I got you on that one.
You just kind of, there's something coming out of the universe.
Yeah.
You're picking it up.
Most definitely. Okay. Now let's see. So you've got that going on, and we're definitely gonna go to.
Oh yeah, I haven't talked about the fact that I just bought a trailer.
Oh yeah.
And which sounds trashy as hell until you realize that first off, fuck you. Second, really though, like it. I'm finally gonna be able to build like a dedicated studio space.
Okay.
And one really cool thing that comes in the trailer that I had no idea about till we were looking at it was in the kitchen there was this weird like a brace or like a stand for something like hanging on the ceiling.
Okay.
I was like, what the fuck is that thing? I thought it was maybe a shitty light they took half out and didn't finish.
You never know in a trailer.
Yeah.
Especially like one from the 70s. It's been around.
Who knows? And so I was like, what's that? Well, it turns out they pointed to the living room wall. There's a projector screen.
Okay.
It's like an 80-inch
projector
screen.
All right, yeah.
Well, there's also a projector.
Okay.
And it's coming with the trailer.
Hell
so
yeah.
now I got this projector rig for my big room, and it's
yeah, dude, life-size porn.
not just talk about Netflix and chill, dude. Nobody's gonna Netflix and chill like me, dude.
Yeah, okay.
I got a fucking movie theater in my living room, dude.
Okay.
Suck a dick plus a recording studio.
Okay.
Suck a bag of dicks.
A bag of dicks. Bouquet of dicks.
I'm doing all right, even though I hate the way I'm doing it.
Valentine's is coming. Happy Dickiversary. We
Yeah.
got this.
I don't know about Valentine's. I'll probably be sitting this one out, but that's all right. I'll make up for it sometime.
Okay.
But so yeah, album's coming along. Gonna build a studio.
All right.
Fucking positive shit's happening.
All right.
You're doing stand up. Fucking
Yeah, I'm going to try to go ahead and work a couple more open mics in, probably like Bear's Place or something like that, at a date to be determined. Like, I'm not really sure. I'm working on a new bit, and so I'm going to go ahead and try to iron that out and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, see what I can get away with making fun of and what I can't. I probably won't be as successful as the first time, but goddamn, I'm going to do the best I can.
Well, and you might you probably have a little bit of a different audience at Bear's. I don't know, where is Bear's Place? Like, what's its?
It's just
area?
downtown. Like, I don't even know where it's at off the top of my head right now. As a matter of fact, without looking it up,
Is it on
I think it's like
Kirkwood,
no, I
or-
think it's like over off of like East 3rd Street somewhere, like downtown. As a matter of
Okay.
fact, yeah. So that should work out.
Well, you probably have a pretty collegey audience. So.
Yeah, I definitely should go with some younger jokes this time. Last time when I did them, when I had the little Asian guy, when I did my set, basically brought like 20-something college kids, and they were like under drinking age for sure. And I had to point at those kids in the middle of some of my jokes and be like, just pretend you're your parents so you understand the joke. And like, it was kind of awkward, but it was a funny awkward, so people let it go.
Yeah, awkward can be fun.
Well, we did agree that when we went ahead and started the podcast and ended the podcast, we picked songs of our original choosing to promote local artists.
Right. Local or just not mainstream.
Not
because
mainstream and
Leo,
not shitty.
Italian last name guy is not.
No, he's not
local.
local for sure. Okay.
So I do have a song picked out for the end here that we're going to go out on. And by we're going to go out on, I mean we're going to sign off, and then I got to add the MP3 at the end of the podcast. So,
okay.
The song we're going to end on is called Lucky One. It's by a band called King Bee and the Stingers. I have the pleasure of knowing the Right Reverend, the Guitar Wonder Boy, America's darling, everybody's sweetheart, DK Buchanan. Who's been a really great friend to me over the last couple of years. I think he's a great guitar player. I think their whole lineup is great. I think they just brought in, I think his name is Marv. I hope I'm not saying the wrong one. One of the guys left the band, but there was another band called, basically the band broke up. It was called Fistful of Bacon.
All right.
One of the guitarists left that band and joined King Bee and the Stingers.
Okay.
So I don't want to misquote which guy it is, but I think it might not be everybody's cup of tea, but I think everybody should give it a chance because it's blues, but they're doing original tracks. Lucky One is I was working with DK while he wrote that song.
Yeah.
So he was bouncing the lyrics off of me while it was in the process.
Awesome. So you were like part of it. Yeah, you were involved in like the creation and the inception of it and everything.
It is, I think, on their EP that just came out, I think it's the best song.
Okay.
So after we sign off here, I'm going to play out with that. I think that might be it until we get around here to the next time.
So we do something else. We'll have T-shirts coming and
what the
stand
fuck?
Up.
T-shirts,
T-shirts,
man. That's
man.
crazy.
Yeah, we're legit now.
Wait, ain't nobody buying them shits, but they're available.
They totally are. So
why would we have a T-shirt?
I just left.
It's so ridiculous. All right, well, we're gonna get out of here then. All right,
see you next week, guys.
Yeah, love you.